I left my job that first heat of summer, never went back. Floating dreamy daisy, summer freedom was my friend. Things happen that others said, remembering back the year. Summer 1989. Oh, things happen that others said, before the great decline.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Spaces. I'm Wolff Ashbury, and we're here with Zoe P from the Supporters Club. Good evening, Zoe.
Evening all. Everybody okay, hopefully?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
And you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's been another eventful week in UK politics. So looking forward to seeing who joins us today and seeing what ideas they've got and having a bit of discussion.
Yeah, like the song says, things that elicit tears. Plenty of those happening this week, huh?
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. Some interesting things. Yeah.
So guys, if you want to get in early, stick your hand up. If you've got anything you want to chat about, any ideas, things you want to discuss. We want to keep it, our Wednesday space fairly light. We want to kind of keep it positive, action focused, fun topics. We've got some interesting things we're going to be bringing up, during this space. Pete, how are you doing?
Top of the morning to you. Hello, my fine friends. Into the breach once more we go.
Okay. Have you got, I'm not saying start now, Pete, but have you got another, monologue lined up for us?
I do. It's a little bit more poignant this week, given actions, but right. I feel a little memorial in there is worth doing. But I've got that, and you have to promise me one thing. I've seen Matt in the chat yet again. If he's getting up to speak, I have to do his intro.
Right. Okay. You're trying to steal my thunder here, Pete. Okay. This is 2 weeks in a row you've done Matt's intro. Right. Okay.
I have a plan, and that's every single week he speaks is to get grander and grander, because now I know it upsets him, and I think it's hilarious.
and Pete, where's our commission, by the way?
Yeah, so at the minute the video might be up to about £1.12, I think I look. So I'll send your 30p off soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think it's about 26 pence actually, if I can kind of calculate it correctly. You know?
That was off yeah. Don't worry. I'll keep you in sugar. Don't worry.
So I think, guys, we're here tonight to really not so much focus on the negativity. We're at the moment, like the song I wrote there said, we're in the middle of a kind of a great decline. But I also think that we could be on the cusp, of a great tomorrow. So this whole space every Wednesday is to try and be forward focused and thinking of the things that could happen in the future that could, make this country great again, I guess. Ideas, possible actions that we can take, ways to bring people together, that type of stuff. So yeah. If Zoe, Pete, you want to jump in now and just say something to get us started?
Yeah, not a lot to say this week. Obviously, we've sort of discussed in the background about trying to get some of these, bits and pieces that we've been talking about, cheat sheets and things like that, actually trying to get them put together now, and then put them out somewhere for people to use them as a resource when they're talking, to friends and family. So, as I said last week, it will take a little bit of time for us. You know, we're all working. So it will take a little bit of time for us to just gather all of that information and then put something out for everybody. I thought it was great that Ben came out and sort of gave us a roadmap of how the structure of the party was progressing. Yeah, really, really listening to what we had to say. I think that was, it was really, really cool that he did that. So I was very happy with what he said. And, so that was great. I think there is a lot to be said that we're trying to bridge the communication gap at the moment. And I understand, obviously we're not official, but I do feel that people want to say stuff. And obviously we were in a space last night where people wanted to come up and talk about Advance. It was a was a very lively space. Got slightly hijacked maybe, but yeah, I think also, as I say, we would like people to come up and talk. And if there is anything that you want to talk about, that maybe isn't quite as light-hearted, then I think I feel we do need to give you the opportunity to say something here, where there's a lot of people who can maybe jump in and help, answer any questions. That maybe you're not going to get an answer straight away from the party. So if there is anything we can help with, then we'll try, obviously.
We're not connected in any way to the party. I think Zoe is one of the key people in the Advanced Supporters group online, and knows a lot more about the inner workings of Advance than I do, or possibly even Pete does. So she's the person who'll be answering any questions around that. But yeah, the three of us just had this idea for a space, and we did a test 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to be just like half a dozen people really, but 500 people somehow found us and tuned in. So because of that, we're going to have to keep this going, guys, right? Am I right, Pete?
100%. I think there's a crying need for many people just to gather, get together, voice concerns, voice ideas, and that is something that lacks in most parties. So like you say, we're there bridging a gap and offering the best support we can get. We do have some conversations with college members, so nothing said here gets ignored, and the concerns are 100% being listened to and addressed by those in the party itself. So it's definitely a move forward that we can really sort of unite behind. And it's great when we get the opportunity to, meet the like-minded people who really see a positive vision for the country overall.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I had a chance to speak to Ben as well this week, ask him a question. To be honest, I didn't really ask him a question. I used my question to introduce somebody who was sitting beside me, but I did put in a good plug for our spaces here. And I do hope that one day he'll come and join us. I want to introduce the first speaker, Zoe. We'll just start there.
Yeah, I've got damnation first.
Good evening, everybody. One of the things that I noticed, and I think that we can do something about other than just podcasts, and I'm not knocking podcasts and things like that, is getting people involved that are not online. And you know how you've got the leaflets? You could actually improve on the leaflets and keep people up to date with a website, informing people of what you're doing and introducing yourselves to people. So people just have to click on the link they online, and it's like a magazine or a monthly update that they can read of what you're doing and what you're achieving. And it's also showing something else that most parties don't do. And that's trying to be part of the community and keep people updated. You notice most parties don't do that.
Yeah, but totally. I mean, I think that there's two kind of things there. There's the website idea. I'm working on a design for a website for our little group here, which is kind of independent of the party, which will host a lot of information.
Have you noticed all other parties have a women's side of them?
Yeah.
Where they have a women's declaration and a group, and all women have a side, have a join up and have a meeting and discuss what's going on with women and how we can support women in society.
There is definitely a need, a youth movement as well. So there's definitely a need to try and reach out to specific parts of society for sure. Yeah, definitely.
The amount of work that it's taking to set up a party in all the regional offices is pretty immense. So there's certainly people like yourselves who are probably going to be frustrated with the lack of progress in some areas. But I think you can go out there and start grouping people together yourself, set up a little group on X perhaps, or a Facebook group, and start from there. And then just make sure that you guys come on our weekly spaces as well, and jump into the Advanced UK spaces if you can, and just make a little bit of noise. And that's the way to get seen, I think.
I'm not backwards about coming forwards. I quite often do that. And I was in the same space as Seb last night, and it was definitely a challenging space, to say the least.
Yeah, we've got Pete Way here, who's got a very heavy pair of steel cap boots somewhere to kick people out firmly out the door.
I don't blame them. The people, they had questions that average members can't answer. Well, I certainly couldn't answer. I have asked for the person, because I have spoke to him independently. They're just a direct person that just wants to have answers that they can't find for themselves. So I have asked a question for them.
Okay.
So very quickly into that, I've obviously, unusually, I jumped on that space last night. I found myself, free time. I said, go on, have a look. And I think what became more and more apparent was there was at least 3 people that were almost sort of agitators, because they asked several core questions repeatedly. So what you find in spaces and the world of entertainment and media is certain people are referred to as plants, and they ask the difficult questions that can't be answered, especially in a party's infancy, and they ask those repeatedly over and over again. They become the loudest voices in there. The idea is to sort of degrade the feasibility of the other party. Because one thing I did notice, if anyone's ever done any psychology, is there are slip-ups. And what I found, that one of those people kept, almost without realising, reverting back to we when she referred to UKIP, but spent the whole time saying, I'm independent, I'm politically homeless. And they said, when we did this and when we did that, she didn't realise she was doing it. So, they are plants effectively. And I think that Advance can rise above it, and it will happen. Just quickly on the spaces. Currently, I've got the veterans group that I set up. I've got the London supporters being in London. Also, I do have the youth one, which is, I just got it there for anyone that can share it round and jump in on it. I'm not youth based at all. I've got no children, anything. So I kind of need people to sort of direct people into those groups that have the connections, because all I can do is set it up to help everyone, but I can't necessarily go the reach. My YouTube channel is popular, but again, I need more grassroots help from the people. If anyone technological wise or promotion wants anything said on a wider market, I'm quite happy to set anything up, and I'm quite happy to do videos and then post it out to my YouTube channel. It's no odds to me whatsoever. It's just good to help the people all involved. On the community front, 100% agree. I spent years as a singer. I went into care homes and different events, which I'm not going to say too much on that, because my monologue will kind of sum it up in regard to what you just said there.
Basically, his name of P.D. Williams justifies him, right? Okay.
It's not P.T. Williams. No, I did a Robbie Williams tribute for a period of time, but I was a 1940s and swing singer mostly.
Lovely.
Yeah, and Zoe, you can also, with the supporters group, if somebody started something really worthwhile, you can get the message out to a few thousand people that way, I guess, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. No problem at all. We can post anything that you want to shout about. I mean, I know, North, was kind enough to do a Facebook link tree, so people can actually now just click on a link and find their local Facebook group. Or indeed, if we do sectional Facebook groups, then we can add them to I'm assuming we can add them to the link tree. So, yeah.
Hi, Stella. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm here. So I've been, a little part of the women's rights activism for a few years, 100% against gender identity ideology, and I stand up for women's rights and our rights to single-sex spaces, sports and services. But I also think, and I've been called a Nazi far-right bigot for years and years, way before it was cool. And turns out I'm not the only one. Now Patriots are in the same boat. So yeah, I'm 100% for Advance. I've got my little leaflets. I bought the leaflets because if I do it now and I knock on doors and everything else like that, the way I see it is people are going to go, well, who are you? You're not even a political party yet. So
yeah, I mean, I was at a meeting last weekend, and where Ben was kind of speaking on a voice call, and he was saying that he's hoping that the political party recognition will come in during November.
Yeah, I've already done 2 boxes of leaflets from the first batch, and I get what I did. Yeah,
that's a lot of walking.
I get what. There was a lot of walking. Yeah, it was a lot of lunch breaks. But I get what you're saying. I do understand. Obviously, my focal was to get us to 30,000. I don't know if my area, contributed much, but it would be interesting to find out at some point.
But I want to stand for reform. And everybody had to stick their hands up and say, right, okay, yeah, it's no problem. It's like literally in the first 2 meetings, and it's you do not know who this guy is. And there was another one, he couldn't even speak English.
Right.
And I was just like, why are we voting for, I mean, we didn't really have a choice. And it was like, well, who wants to stand up as secretary? I stood up as the secretary. And it was like, and then why am I doing this? And I just walked away. I wanted it to be the answer. I'll be honest with you. I voted for them. I wanted it to be the answer, but it wasn't the answer. The best way to stand up is to do what we're doing. We need to speak. Everybody needs to speak up. We need to speak to everybody we know. We need to create them. We need to create a groundswell. Speak to our family, our friends, and everything else like that. Call out every single lie that Islam and the woke left are doing, and all the other political parties, obviously. We need to stand up. We need to be informed.
Very quickly with that one, there is an advanced UK group on Facebook, 51 members. I believe a guy called Graham may be running this, and he's
not on Facebook.
Not on Facebook.
I'm banned.
Well, don't blame you. You're not missing much, to be honest. I mean, what you could do is if you message me on here, I will then forward it on to Kent, and then they can form a link up, because then you'll have an idea of who's around. I recently found the Surrey meetup group, Advanced Support, which is sort of Croydon based. So there's a meet on Sunday I'll be going to for that one. And basically there are these WhatsApp groups. So if you find the right little sources, you can obviously get involved with that, which is quite useful. Is it all deeds, not words still? Is it deeds, not words still, or is a modern slogan?
Deeds, not words. It's deeds, not words for me, and it's courage calls to courage.
Ah, that's a nice one. The old WSPU stuff, 1903. It always hits home in the modern. I did an Emmeline Pankhurst documentary on YouTube. I filmed it in a Manchester house as well. So it was a lot of fun with that. Good times looking back at some of the most poignant moments of the past.
Yeah. And, we're hoping to put together some cheat sheets as well. So if you want to, we might be in touch with you for a bit of help there. Is it Sachin next, Zoe?
Yeah, so Sachin, hopefully, there you go.
Oh,
good,
my goodness, you guys got my name right. Oh my goodness, that doesn't happen often. How are you guys doing today? You guys okay?
So it's Sachin,
good,
right?
yeah.
Me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, got it right again.
Yeah, there you go. Bonus points for you folks. So, yeah, how's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah, we're good. Are you going on? Is it the weekend? This thing you're going to in Surrey? Is that right, Pete?
Oh yeah, it's on the weekend.
Yeah.
The Sunday. And it's not Croydon. It starts with a C. It's something else.
It's Colston. It's Colston, which is up the road from Croydon. Yeah, I just said Croydon because that's their group base.
Oh man. Okay. I heard you're from West London, Pete.
Yeah, I'm currently in Brentford, so it's quite interesting over this way. Yeah.
No way. I've got family there.
There we go. See, there's always a connection.
There, and my bus around the corner from there. So, like we've already got something going.
Yeah, no problem.
And the thing is with, I'm kind of winding down. If you've seen my, Twitter and whatnot, I do post a few things here and there with what's going on. I was at the march on September 13th also. How many are confirmed for attendance on the 2nd of November?
It was around 25 last time he spoke to me. So there might be a couple of people, I think, under that said they're not able with work and bits, but it's still a reasonable turnout for a local meetup.
Yeah, I was at somewhere in the northeast last weekend. There was about 30 people there. So, I would guess 30 to 40 would be a good guess.
There's planned to be 100 in Leeds. 100.
Get out.
No, serious. That's the 8th of November, but it's sold out. So unfortunately, but 100.
Another news.
Yeah, no ticket for me, Zoe. No ticket for me.
I'm in though. Yeah. I'm in.
And news came this evening just before I logged on to this. The Wales launch is back on. Venue has been confirmed and it will now be on the 29th. That should be good to go at the end of the month instead of the start.
Well, hopefully, Pete, I can get an invite down there. I'll be coming down.
All right. I'm going to work on it.
I will probably be driving to Spain that weekend, so I can pop in on my way to Spain, right?
Yeah. I'm going to make the effort to try and get over there because I was meant to go to the first one.
What we're standing for, which may not even be it may feel like we're talking a foreign language to some of the folks. Just from like where I live, where I'm from a town that's already like white minority. I'm from a town called Southall. Have any of you guys heard of that town? I'm about.
No, I know Southall. Know Southall well.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to
Oh
live
man,
up
there's
the
been
road.
quite a bunch of stuff comes out of it. I feel like if we just focus on what we can do, because when I started to look into what's going on in our political space, I was always like under the impression that, oh look, okay, terrorism is normal. Maybe there's nothing we can do about it to stop that. Knife crime is normal. There's nothing to do to stop that. Gangs, like trafficking gangs, there's nothing you could do to stop that. But then when I started to like listen to some of some podcasts with Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe and mainly some of the guys that were with Reform, it made me think to myself, maybe there is something we can do about this. So that's just the best way for us as a group to like kind of work.
That's the big thing I want to kind of push for the party, is becoming the party of entrepreneurship and business,
Yes.
and trying to make young people positive about the future. Because so many young people, everything just seems so expensive. Everything just seems like your parents' generation might have had an easier time of buying a house.
Definitely, they
So it
had.
almost seems pointless working because you're paying so much tax and everything is so expensive. So just kind of pushing that whole entrepreneurial kind of angle, I think is a winner. There's so many different areas I think Advance UK could go into that other parties aren't going into. So on this channel, I'd rather talk about those things rather than going over the immigration and the terroristy kind of stuff again and again, because it's done to death everywhere else, and there's people that can do it a lot better than us here. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think we have to go back to basics with children, and I think community centres are a way to go, because if you can get people coming together, the kids are coming together, then the families will come together. We talked about community events last week, picnics, afternoon teas, that kind of thing. And I just remember that there were youth clubs back in the day. I'm also originally from North London. Ben Kay.
Hello. Hopefully you can hear me this time, unlike the last time I spoke last week. But yeah, one thing that I was thinking that we could possibly maybe look to do, and I know I probably banged on about this because I mentioned this yesterday, but is sort of educate ourselves. So obviously right now we'll probably wait until the policies start to come out, but when Advance UK does release its own policies, it might be good maybe in this space to just talk about like sort of just a little bit about them, so then everybody here is a bit more clued up. So then when we go to discuss it with other people, that we actually seem like quite knowledgeable in what our own party are doing, but also it'd be great to know the evidence that are backing the policies as well, so then we can just rely back on that. I'm not asking for people to like study pages or researches, but it'd be good if to just discuss here, just like nice little nuggets of like good little information. But also, I know we also want to keep it light, so I don't know if probably this is the right space for it, but we could also play devil's advocate with ourselves here, a bit of a safe space, and say, oh, well, what happens if someone throws this at us or someone throws that at us? And then again, just gets us a bit more confident when we go out to start talking with other people who won't probably initially share us, but they might be sitting on the fence. And I always think it's always about trust, isn't it? And I feel like if we educate ourselves, we'll then start to build on that trust. And yeah, and also like another thing, but then again, I know this is nothing we can do about it, but for instance, if I look at the likes of Reform, but also that other party always escapes my name, is it Restore Britain? Is that what it's called? I've been trying to look at Is it Restore? Yeah. I've been trying to look at their policies, right? And I get it, but I'm starting to see like a very like clear theme with Restore, and it is around immigration. It could be the fact that it's like a really hot topic at the moment, but I don't.
Restore is a movement. Sorry, Ben, just to let you know, Restore is it's a movement. It's like the MAGA movement. It's not a party. It may become a party at some point, but it's there to design policy for anybody to take. And Ben is Ben is a member of Restore. I'm a member of Restore as well. So that's the idea behind Restore. Just to let you know. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I misinterpreted that then completely. But yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But see, there we go. So, I'm in a safe space where I can raise that and we can talk about it here. But I guess one thing which I just still want to make clear is we don't want to look like a one trick pony. Like right now, I think Reform got most of its momentum behind one agenda. So it's always good to make sure that we're also showing what positive things we're going to be bringing that maybe might not be like hot on the agenda, but I think that's how we could possibly sway more people instead, because people probably be a bit bored of hearing the same old on media, which is pushed down their throats. So let's hit them from a different angle that they weren't expecting. And I know we were talking before about like how we could possibly increase like entrepreneurs and stuff like that. That'd be great, like good little talking points to discuss where it's not all just doom and gloom politics. So yeah, and probably just helping us each other come up with ideas on how we can reach out to different people. And again, this weekend, actually, I went to 2 family events, one on my side and one on my wife's side, and politics came up, but I was able to bring up Advance UK and I put it on like a very positive spin. Didn't mention any of the buzzwords, and people were actually like, quite intrigued to learn more about Advance UK. I might not have swayed them, but the fact that I've caught their interest, I see that as a win in itself.
So we can always bring you back up. I don't think I'm allowed to introduce the next speaker, Pete.
Oh, it's the moment. Okay. I know who this is going to be, and just because it's now my new hobby of the week, ladies and gentlemen, gather your thoughts, steady your hearts, and prepare your applause, because what you are about to witness is not just another speaker. No, tonight, destiny itself takes the microphone. Before us stands a visionary whose words have moved mountains, whose ideas have redefined possibility, and whose presence, let's be honest, makes the rest of us question every life's choice we've ever made. A thinker, a doer, a trailblazer, forged in the fires of passion and polished by relentless pursuits of excellence. He's faced storms, turned into symphonies. He's met challenges with courage, doubt and determination with coffee. Probably too much caffeine. So take a deep breath. Ladies, gentlemen, please adjust your seat because history, as they say, begins again tonight. Rise if you must, cheer if you will. Join me in welcoming the incomparable, the unstoppable, the one, the only, Matt.
So I'll try and answer what everybody's been saying in order. But first of all, Sachin, you asked this week and last week, what's this space for? And as you just heard, it's Pete's chance to try and humiliate or embarrass me. But luckily, my mum spent a lot of time making sure I'm immune to that.
Matt, so, just wait until I get my chance to introduce you, right? Just wait, right?
It makes me cringe so hard. But yeah, go ahead. So, first off, Wolff, your comment about entrepreneurship for the young people is perfect. Like, we need to stop as a nation demonising success. We've got into a real habit of that. And it's a real problem. Also, the young people, like all the young people I talk to, it's a lack of agency. They can't see anywhere to go. They can't see anything to do. I love the idea as well that somebody raised for a way through the website to sort of link people locally. If you can't find anyone, just sort of a space either through the official Advance website, or if you guys are making a website, just a way for people to meet like-minded people in their local area and sort of even post if they're like organising a coffee meet-up or something. On to Stella and Damnation's point, I totally agree with advocacy groups. They are great for picking up demographic-specific issues, whether that's women's, men, young, old, sort of veterans, whatever group it is. It's a great way of picking up specific issues that other people might not think of. Yes, the other parties have them, but we need to do them properly. Like, that's the thing about Advance. Like, I'm so encouraged by everything I hear. We need to show that we're not more of the same. I think we need to, like, if we do it, try to avoid cherry picking and using data in a misleading way, present the wider picture and then zoom in. All the sort of statistics and data people reel out at the minute, they start at the atom and then just ignore the wider picture. So if we can go about it, look, this is the bigger picture. These are the facts that have led us down to this decision. So people can actually understand the reasoning and then they can agree or disagree. Like, that's what's beautiful about this space and the people that are in it. Like, we all to my experience of you lot, seem capable of critical thinking. And we're all also able to be truthful about the trade-offs. Like, nothing is 100% perfect and helps everyone the same amount or gives an equal result for everyone. And we need to get back to a part where we can accept that and do what's the greatest good for the greatest people.
Yeah, we need to find out where we can put our effort for to create the highest value. And everyone's going to be different in what their capabilities, skill and time level is in order to do that.
Try and make sure if you have sort of like inter-advanced debates that they remain constructive and not get sort of confrontational, because obviously what is good for another group might be less beneficial for another. But I mean, everyone that I've heard in this group, even when they disagree, they're polite and they get on. So I'm massively encouraged by that. It's not like the other parties. It doesn't turn into name slinging because we're all bloody sick of it.
Well, Matt, I'm the guy after the advance launch that ended up being accosted by a genuine Antifa guy who had just beaten up somebody with a Union Jack. And I managed to sit down and have a chat with him and actually agree on a couple of points. So, I certainly won't tolerate too much, rebellion in a space. I do think we need to talk and communicate and listen and focus on the positive things. That's where I come from. And I know Zoe and Pete here, probably, not probably, they do agree, I assume, right? Okay. I can't speak for them. Zoe's saying 100. Pete's being very silent, so maybe Pete
no,
like a little bit of
definitely agree. I'm there.
I'm grateful for Pete's silence, if anyone is.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, on to Sachin. Like, I just wanted to say, like, for a party that isn't even through the Electoral Commission, even having 25 people willing to get together in their own time and meet up for an event is a fantastic achievement, let alone 50, 100. Like, that's only going to grow. This is the start. And that's what we're doing. Like, 25 people's amazing, considering that we have no media presence. We're pretty much like Advances blacklisted from everything. You don't see anything about it in any of the sort of main publications. So just don't be discouraged if it feels small at the start. Even 25 people willing to spend their spare time getting into a room and try and find a hopeful way forward is a beautiful thing, and it's what we've lost.
For us, for example, we only thought we'd get half a dozen people listening to our first space. I'd be really happy tonight if there was only maybe 10 or 20 people listening, but I think at one point I've looked, there was like about 100 odd people listening at one time. So by the time this space is finished, we might have had 400 or 500 people popping in and out, which is pretty good for X. To be honest, I'm trying to think of ideas where we can get greater reach on kind of other channels as well. I mean, Pete here does get a recording of the space up on his YouTube. And Pete, how many kind of views are you getting on that typically over maybe a week or two?
So the first episode over the week got just short of 2,000 views, and the current one for the second episode is up to about 500. So over a week and 2 weeks, it can grow exponentially.
One suggestion, actually I made the suggestion that there would be a tab behind it that you could click and you could get much more detail. So you could have the policy, no digital ID, and then a tab to go behind it to say, right, this is why we don't want it. Or we're leaving the ECHR. This is why we're leaving the ECHR, and these are the steps we're going to take to do it. So there was talk of that. I know that there was talk of that. Not sure what's happening currently, but, that was something that was happening. Just something to throw out to the room, and I don't know how we can gauge this, but while I'm sitting here scribbling, do you think it would be beneficial to have X regional groups rather than just one advanced supporters group? Anybody put your thumbs up or?
That's a difficult one because a lot of people gather behind an overall cause. To split it down demographically might be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done with Facebook. I just wondered if it would work on X.
I think on X, what I can see from X is that the people on X tend to be people who are more, a much smaller group of people you can find on Facebook, and there are people who are generally more politically engaged. So there's less people. So I think having like the group you've got on X, there's less numbers in that, isn't there, than some of the Facebook groups? Am I correct?
There is about 1,270 people in the advanced supporters group, and then on X on Facebook in the supporters group, there's about 4,500, I think. So yes, there is.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll move on to Laurel.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Am I?
You're live.
first time this is only your third live anyway. I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and quite hopeful, obviously. I think Matt's right about about that whole giving the bigger picture, not just because that's one of the problems is that we're misinformed all the time by being shown a tiny, tiny view, and we need to know the bigger picture. So, because context really is king, and that's how we get the wool pulled over our eyes a lot. And Zoe, totally right about the app. The app would be a real good way to engage, especially young people. But some of the older voters that, perhaps might not go out. I think you'll get engagement from an app that you won't get from things like this, where people might be scared to actually talk, because it's a little bit, people get nervous there.
Yeah, and I think also my problem is figures. Somebody says, oh, how many people left the country? Like you were saying, I would never remember it was 10 million, and that's why I think we were talking about having the cheat sheet as well. Just so you can have some things to hand, to talk to people about. And if somebody says, oh, what's the policy for advance on immigration? And you could pull it up and you could show them and you could talk through it. So yeah, I think it is a good idea.
Definitely, really, really, quite hopeful and of seeing what happens over the next year or two. Ben's said so many things in the past when he was with Reform and since. I really want to see advance. Actually, I would like to see people come out within the advance as we grow, who are obvious shadow cabinet sort of members, like people who are obviously experts in different. We need to raise up people in different areas that are obviously, this person who's obviously in health related or education related or farming related, or I really, really, and one of the problems I have with politics, and I've had it for a long time, is I think the reason we keep getting fucked over so often, sorry for my language, but it's the careerist nature of politics. And and that's one of the reasons why Reform is becoming more and more obviously, a donkey, because all the careerists are jumping across. And have I just cut out?
No, you're there. You're still there, darling. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that I'd like to see. I like yes, lots of people still listen to it, but there are lots more people who listen to alternative media, and so citizen journalists have helped break, to a certain extent, have cracked at least the stranglehold of mainstream media. And I really feel that citizen politicians are what is the new generation needs. We need more people who've had a life and have experience in the real world and have empathy for actual real people. And they've not just went to uni, studied politics, and then that's their career for life, because they're the people who shouldn't be in politics. I really don't. If they're in it for the money and a career, that's the wrong reason. Yeah.
The people they're bringing into the college are really, really good people, really knowledgeable on their field, but also, as you say, they've ran businesses, they've done things with their lives. We can bring David up. Sorry, Lorelle.
No, Aileen's before me.
Oh, no, okay. But David, I know you were waiting before, so you go first, and then I'll come. That's fine. Yeah.
It's drama tonight, isn't it? Look.
Go, David. Go. Just get in there. Go.
Okay. No, thank you. No, just a couple of things regarding the getting people together. I had thought a good idea might be, and I'm not sure about the GDPR of this, but basically to get a list of where members are and then put them into like the different constituencies. Obviously, the likes of my part of the UK, Northern Ireland's very small. So you have a list of all the members, and then whilst I think this Twitter space is good, I do think that it's very, very hard to organise, public meetings very quickly for different logistical reasons, trying to find venues that are willing to have it, etc. But as an initial thing is to have like a Teams meeting or whatever, where you can actually put a face to a name, etc. I think there's something more personable about that you can actually see somebody. So for example, in England is so large and it's so vast. If were able to collate everybody who's in, for example, the Canterbury constituency, see all the members, and then get like an email or something and invite them to an online call where you can just, say hello to each other, talk a bit about your different ideas and things, and then getting into what you were saying about, pairing up with each other, because it is very hard whenever you are all so spread out, you don't know anybody, and you're trying to sort of know what to do. And obviously, HQ is very, very busy and are working at a frantically fast speed trying to set things up.
Which is why we've tried to, I suppose, almost buck the system in a way by having the Facebook groups. So I don't know if there is a Facebook group local to you where you can join and meet people in your area. Unfortunately, I'm not au fait with Northern Ireland and how your sort of kind of counties work and things like that. So that's something I would maybe try in the meantime. That's exactly what I did myself, and managed to get 6 people in a room to talk. And as I said, we've met up now, and we'll support each other as we go. So I've managed to get all 4 corners of Yorkshire, which is a massive county, that way. So maybe that's something to consider in the meantime.
Yeah. If I may just interject, you've got an expert of Northern Ireland here, Aileen, obviously.
Yeah.
So probably going to answer a few questions, to be fair.
Yeah.
Pete,
Come up,
Pete, can I
Aileen.
stop you? Pete, are you going to do a massive introduction for Aileen like you did for Matt?
No, that took me time to prepare that one for Matt. I mean, off the cuff I could try, but I won't get out that one.
I want to be serenaded. I accept nothing less.
Oh, come on. Guys, give me a break here. I write a lot of stuff in a week. I thought that was fun. I mean, what I want to do is I could do, I've got Tony here. We could do a million introductions. Problem is, I don't have enough hours of the day. But before we jump too far, let me just get this monologue done, because then we can sail through on all of the question things. Because I think tonight we've definitely jumped up and it's doing really well. There's been a lot of good input and a lot of good things said. So I think we're doing a lot better this week, and there's no football, which is a bonus. But I think just a little moment we take, especially in light of a little bit of a tragedy this week. I just think we give a moment of respect to someone as I would look at as a fallen comrade. I did write a monologue that was very much community based, and this goes back to some of the things said tonight. I had to rewrite it a little bit yesterday, because I spent the last 2.5 weeks literally in Uxbridge every day. So I just decided to do a course, and I finished that yesterday in Uxbridge. So I think I'll do this now, and then everyone can get on and have their say, and brilliant, because if it gets too late, we lose the people. But we're doing very well. So I'll just read this now, and it's kind of a memorandum, or memorial, sorry, one of the two words, as well as my usual positive spin on things. So as we come together tonight, we stand at a poignant crossroads of sorrow. But I ask you all for hope, solidarity, unity. Recently, the community in Uxbridge was shaken to its core by the tragic loss of Wayne. Wayne Broadhurst, a 49-year-old, taken from us while walking his dog. This senseless, savage and vile act, also 2 others injured, and as has left an irreplaceable void in all of our hearts as proud British citizens. A catalyst moment of great significance. In the midst of this tragedy, we are reminded of the innocence that we've lost. Wayne's loyal dog sitting there, looking up in confusion and longing, will never understand why his best friend isn't there anymore. This image is a symbol of the deep, unfillable void left behind, not just by the dog, but for Wayne's family, friends, colleagues. They now have had something stolen, a piece of them, of their soul, that can never be returned. How many tragedies must we endure before we say no more? It's time for us to come together in true unity and solidarity. We must reflect on the elderly, the guardians of our heritage, who often exist forgotten as they live in care homes, out of sight, out of mind. Their wisdom and experiences are invaluable, and it is our duty to honour them and ensure that they never feel truly left behind. At the same time, our youth are the future of this nation. They carry the torch of our British ideals and values, and it's vital that we invest in them, guide them, and bring them into the fold of our communities. They are the driving force of a brighter, more cohesive future. We no longer leave the upbringing of the children to the state, a system that was created to develop obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. As quoted, or at least attributed, to John D. Rockefeller, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. In a socialist system here now in Britain, we stop teaching our youth the foundations of our nation, our history. That is the moment our country lost its soul, its purpose, and its future. It is in this unity across all generations that we will find the strength to move forward and ensure that no more tragedies like this occur. This is our moment to come together, to remember our past, and to build a legacy that we can all be proud of.
Wonderful. Very good.
Yeah. Well, I think that almost needs a name in after it. That was a lovely speech. Is it Aileen next?
Should be.
It is Aileen next, yes.
Aileen,
yes. Aileen.
I'm terrified about getting your name wrong.
Gives the best hugs. She gives the best hugs.
It's Aileen with an A. Aileen, not Eileen. But David's very much an expert on Northern Ireland. But just a couple of things I'd like to say is, I think having local groups is really great as well, but to actually having something like this as well as a kind of an overarching thing to, a couple of things is to, exchange ideas, exchange general ideas, and even feedback to say we did this in our place and it worked or it didn't work, but also just to have the conversation someplace where people, very active and committed people, can have a conversation across the whole country, about the state of the party. I just think is excellent. And I think it's one way of harnessing the enthusiasm, and I think it'll take on a different nature once the kind of the party structure has come up, because there'll be something meatier for you to attach your work onto, but able to keep up that energy, because I know people are just chomping at the bit, and the HQ is kind of, I keep saying, victim of success, overwhelmed with actually how enthusiastic and how well it's doing. And in terms of Northern Ireland, I also think that in some way, there should be some sort of mapping of local groups onto constituencies, because after all, that's the teams that you're going to be working with to get people elected. And Fermanagh, we're the most westerly county in the kingdom, but we are not even a constituency. It's Fermanagh and South Tyrone, so it's my county and a bit of another county. We don't even make up a constituency on our own, but we have kind of looked at where our members are, and it is actually amazing in Northern Ireland, where people are not used to thinking themselves as part of a UK-wide party. We have already got more members than, from what I believe, the TUV have, and probably even more members than the DUP, who are the biggest unionist party. And because Cara Lockhart, who's a very, very popular DUP MP, and actually quite a good lassie, she was the only woman MP that signed Rupert Lowe's first, departition, early day motion thing, but she didn't have enough members in her constituency to ratify her as her candidate. So the fact that Advance UK has got, coming up on 600 members in Northern Ireland is actually quite an amazing feat. So, hopefully we will get something organised properly in Northern Ireland. But I think a space like this, where everybody can come through and kind of, update everybody, keep the momentum going, but also, yes, have local groups that are in contact and are doing different things, and then can feed back successes or failures to this group is really important. And I just think it's really great that you've done this, and that it's lasted, that it wasn't just a 1 week wonder. So I think you should all give yourselves a big clap on the back.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm
Aileen.
going to ring I've got a big bell on my desk here that I ring, so I'm kind of ringing that. Thank you, Aileen. I'm sure Zoe and Pete will love those words as well. We actually started this 2 weeks ago, and I think you were one of our first guests. And I expected to have like half a dozen people, maybe a dozen. It was a test because I've never done anything like this before. I think when I jumped on Richard, I think I can see Richard Taylor's here from Wales. I think I jumped in his space a few weeks ago. That was the first time I'd ever sort of gone public with anything ever in my entire life. So it was a test, but we had, I think, 500 people. And then obviously you came in. So we're kind of stuck now. We've got to keep doing this, right? But I think the key thing, is that it's independent from the party, because we can be a little bit looser. We can do our own thing. We can have a bit of fun. We can be a gently critical friend as well, which I think is really, really important. So it's a members and supporters kind of led space rather than the party space. That's, one thing I think all three of us here, myself, Zoe and Pete, really want to focus on is allowing the sort of ordinary members of the party to have a really clear voice. We're hoping to get like an independent.
The extraordinary members of the party. The extraordinary members of the party.
Well, I think all the members of the party are all on the same level. And I think everybody's voice, kind of needs to be heard. Obviously there's a lot of people in the party who've come over from Reform that have got a lot more political experience than myself or Pete. I think Zoe's maybe a little bit of experience, but myself and Pete don't. So I'm also very keen to make sure that all of these new people that are joining the party, who've got no political experience at all, are also integrated and their voice is heard as well, because there's a slight danger that people have come over from Reform who are very politically organized and know each other, can start to dominate things. That's one other thing that we want to make sure as well, is everybody's kind of voice is being, kind of heard in the party. Yeah.
Caroline?
Hello there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. So I just wanted to say, well done for a positive call. I've been on a few of these X spaces, and they can very often become very negative. Why is this not happening? Why is that not happening? But what I've heard from this call so far is you're all asking really relevant questions. But you're doing it in a positive way, and the tone is very upbeat, and I really hope you can keep that going, because I was on another call last night.
Yeah, we're solutions people, and we want to make things happen, and we've got to focus on the positive, because if we don't, our mental health is going to suffer in this country big time. So
exactly. Yeah, and it's amazing that, you can all be so positive and everything. I like to be positive. I'm not bothered about, it's not that I'm not bothered. What's done is done. I'm interested in how we move forward. And for me, advance is the key to that. So, well done. Keep it going. Keep it upbeat and positive. But equally, I think it's important, if you do identify key issues or whatever, or you've got really amazing ideas, that somehow you have the opportunity to feed those back into the party. Okay, I will give the mic up there, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And one last thing I say before I go is when we are talking to people out and about, I know somebody today that popped into the pub, and she ended up practically recruiting, telling everybody in the pub about Advance UK, and was met with really positive responses. The next stage of that for me, I think, is we need to get people like supporting the party. It's not just about the party, it's about the public supporting the party as well. And I think that's, 3 years ago, I'd never been a member of a political party in my life. It just wasn't something that occurred to me to do, and I think there's a lot of people around that, we need to kind of pull them in, get them interested at least, so that when it does come time to vote, they've already got that knowledge base and they know who they want to vote for.
Tony, it's your turn.
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you.
First of all, thanks for having me on the space again. And it's rapidly. I'm not someone who does spaces and all that. This is quite a new phenomenal for me. But, you know, I dropped into it. I think, Zoe, you might have been in that space yesterday, that descended into, yeah, I mean, what I wish to point out, touching on something that was mentioned earlier about spaces, the most important thing in the spaces is the moderators. Okay. The moderators are the ones who keep it cohesive, keep it going, you know, are able to interject and keep it on topic, etc., etc. Now, in the psychological field, in my day job, I run groups, and groups have to have boundaries. And I don't know if you feel as I do, Zoe, yesterday, but I found it very, very difficult yesterday. And in the end, I had to drop out because it was descending into, you know, it became very personal, and people were slagged off, and it was just became ranty, very ranty. And this space this evening is the absolute polar opposite of that yesterday. Now, I know people feel passionately, and I know people were frightened, and people were worried, and people were desperate, and everything else. But if we don't keep some sort of cohesive, mutual respect for everybody's opinions and everybody's ideas, which is one of the things that this space does absolutely phenomenally well, it just descends into point scoring and personalities against personalities and all that rubbish, and it dilutes and waters down the central message, which the central message is that advance is for everybody. Advance is the way to actually have everybody's voice heard, except, and all those type of things that I could say that we all know and we all appreciate. You know, so, I mean, Zoe, I don't know what your take was on that yesterday, but I was I was a bit shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I started listening to it to start with, and I know the three characters. I do listen to Patriots Space. I know them. You could just tell it was. I'm not going to say it was an attack. It just seemed to be, as Pete said earlier, sort of something to come in and dilute. I get that they're hurt that Tommy's come to us. I get that they're probably a little bit jealous, and I did actually say probably a little bit jealous because we've managed to hit such a high numbers. Yeah. But I just couldn't bite my tongue any longer, and I had to go in and say something. And I I came off and I thought, was I a little bit harsh? But no, I just felt I had to say something because there was just too much swirling around that just wasn't getting any answers. And
Zoe, may I say, it was a good job that you got in there before I did, because I was revved up. I was really revved up, and I thought, no, you know, it's not my space. All due respect to the hosts and the protagonists involved and everything else, it's not my space. But there were some salient points that I could have pointed out. You know, one of the points was, you know, I mean, I don't know if you remember the exact phrase, but it will stick with me. It will literally stick with me. And it says, if you don't mind, if you indulge me, I'm going to swear for a moment, okay? And I don't mean to offend anybody, but one of the statements that came out, and I was listening to it and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, is, what the fuck is advance? What's it for? What the fuck is advance? What is it about, right? Okay, and then the speaker went on to clarify exactly what, he answered his own question, exactly what advance was about, because he was talking about different things and different organisations and we've already got this, we've already got that. Well, no, we haven't got this, we've got that. We've got polarising, different types of polarising little cliques, and what we want to do is bring it all together under a unifying voice, bring it all together. Everybody has a voice in advance. Without a shadow of a doubt, everybody will do. And as soon as I get any wind of people not having a voice in advance, I'll be out, right? Now, and I can't envision myself ever being out, because I have a utmost respect for Ben, and I know Ben personally, and you know, his vision is what we all tally with, without a shadow of a doubt. So the chap actually answered his own question, you know, and I was going to, you know, all this about, you know, splitting the votes and all that, and people have heard me say before, you know, there's 40% of the demographic that are eligible to vote that don't. And even if we was to harness just 10% of that, we will be in Parliament, you know? So, you know, but it did seem, and then names were thrown about, and this person's that, and this person's that, and that this is where moderators become very, very important, and that's why I like this space, you know, because what I hear in this space is everybody's able to speak. Nobody's like, you know, nobody's poo-pooed. All the comments are, they don't have to be positive, but they're all relevant and they're all valid, you know. And the reason that I put my hand up was to answer a couple of questions for people who don't, who are not. I mean, I don't consider myself politically experienced, but you know, I've been about a little while now, and people may not be aware of talking about communications, getting together, and you know, and how we liaise and how we build groups and everything else. There's something called Nation Builder, and most new political parties or political parties per se use something called Nation Builder, and it's about gathering together and collating information and everybody who's interested in the party, etc. And that will be becoming more and more prevalent as time goes on, as we become established. And, you know, I'm just, you know, it's not up for every member yet. And what happens is you need a bit of GDPR training from previous experience in another party. You do need a bit of GDPR training to be able to get access to Nation Builder, but everybody centrally in every sort of borough, in every group, will have access to Nation Builder eventually. And what that will be, it will be a database of people who consent to being contacted by Advance UK, who are interested in Advance UK. And basically, it's exactly what was said earlier. It brings people together and gives us the framework to be able to reach out and contact. And as I spoke about last week, we did set up the website Advance UK Clacton.co.uk, and already I've had independent outside, you know, people contacting the website and asking me for a bit of information, and you know, getting onto something what someone said earlier about pulling in all demographics and all people. I went over to see a couple who expressed an interest today, and I spent 2 hours with them. And the lady was Indian, and the man was British, and you know, they are really on board, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic because it's an outlying area of this area, an area called Brightlingsea. People may know it, people may not. So it's a little bit. It's about 10 miles away from Clacton, and you know, and that all came about through people, you know, they sent me an email because I published an email address that I don't mind people saying, if they want to find out and if they want to contact me directly, they can. And I'll monitor it and I'll pick it up. So these things, and it is growing, without a shadow of a doubt, it is growing. People are expressing an interest. Now, you know, fortunately, I've been on a couple of podcasts and now people know me, and you know, and they're asking me, and I'm just, like we all are, I'm just conveying to them what I feel, what I think, and why I think that this is the way forward. I don't have to denigrate anybody else. And then, of course, I do get, well, why, you know, reform this and UKIP that, and, you know, and I say, well, look, you know, at the end of the day, what we are interested in, we're all more or less on the same side. We're just going about it very differently. And the only party that I believe can unite all of this is Advance UK. But the other thing I wanted to say as well was David was on earlier, and you know, a colleague of Aileen's, I believe, and David said about you know, the Nation Builder thing is more a point to relay to David, that it will be coming, and it will be where we can all get together and we can link up, because you know, with Nation Builder, what happens is, if I say, for example, hypothetically, and, you know, we have to be careful, so I'm going to say it's hypothetically, if I say, right, okay, I'm going to organise a meet-up in, I don't know, in Colchester, okay? And I'm going to have a guest speaker, so-and-so at this meet-up. Now, Nation Builder is the central database, and we can literally directly email everybody within a 10-mile radius of that area and say, this is what's happening. There's an Advance UK meetup in this hall, this guest speaker and all that from so-and-so to so-and-so. Would you like to express an interest to come? Details will follow, all that sort of stuff. And that's how we're going to do it. That's how I believe we're going to do it. And that's how I will do it, because that's what works. So, David, that will be coming for Northern Ireland, I'm sure. And Aileen, obviously you know this, how this organically grows, and there is a few hurdles that we have to go through first. And the other thing, David, is quite right. And, you know, as far as Northern Ireland goes and the United Kingdom, it's a very, very big thing for Advance UK, and it's a very, very big thing for Ben personally. And Ben has a very good relationship, and he understands the Northern Ireland question more than any other politician, as far as I'm concerned. And that's another thing that sets us apart. People say, oh, you know, United Kingdom. And I say to them, well, hold on a minute. You know, and they say, oh, we formed this United Kingdom. I said, well, hold on a minute. You know, Farage is on record saying that, you know, United Ireland is inevitable. He's not bothered about the Northern Ireland question. The Northern Ireland question take care of itself and all this stuff. Whereas we are the exact opposite. You know, so I wanted to reassure, obviously Aileen knows this. I wanted to reassure, you know, David, that, you know, Northern Ireland is a big part of our thinking, and we are all equal. Everybody has a voice in Advance UK. Everybody's voice is valid, as long as it's respectful and, you know, the rules of engagement. And this is why I like this space, because the rules of engagement are maintained. Yeah. And it has to be, because if you're going to have intelligent discourse and you're going to, you know, you're going to advance, excuse the pun, and you're going to build some rapport, and we're going to build something, which is what we want to do, you're going to have strong moderators. And, you know, I mean, I'm glad I didn't go on that space yesterday in the end, because I think I would have lost my shit a little bit. And I'm glad I didn't, because some of these characters I don't know, and you know, I haven't got nothing against them personally, but what I do have is something against people just monopolising and ranting and just venting their frustration, and just to no end, just literally to no end. It's just, there's nothing constructive, there's nothing productive, there's no solution. It's just like bang, 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 and that is not what we need. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think on this space, Tony, we're trying to move the conversation forward. I'm always on the front foot, always looking. I know for myself, I'm never ever happy with anything. I'm always trying to make it better. Usually not with a great deal of success, but the whole idea of this space, I think, is to be always looking for solutions, always trying to push the envelope that little bit harder, always thinking of the future, very kind of on the front foot and kind of future focused. And if we all keep doing that, then, like I said earlier, the snowball that is Advance UK will start getting bigger and bigger, and eventually it will start picking up a head of steam that will be difficult to stop.
The thing about success is you have to be unsuccessful before you are successful. Okay? So we keep going. We keep going. And we will make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But the thing is, the intention and the motivation is always pure. And that's what we have to look at. Have to look at the motivation. You know, sometimes I've said something. I'm not a professional speaker. And sometimes I've said something in space and I think, oh, I wish I hadn't have said that. But people know that my intention and I'm never malicious. I'm never detrimental to people unless I have to pat and interrupt and stop them if they're in free flow of a diatribe. You know, otherwise I will respectfully listen and you know, and formulate an opinion where, you know, it may differ from theirs, but we can have some decent discourse. We can communicate, you know, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I actually went back on to apologise because I'd made an assumption that one of the ladies would be going on holiday, and she talked about biometrics, and she assured me that she wouldn't be going on holiday abroad. So I went back on just to clear the air, apologise, and, you know, left it at that. But basically, you know, I am just a member, but I am a well-informed member, and I wouldn't overstep. Yeah. But I just felt something had to be said, and I know Richard was there, and unfortunately his battery died, and then that was thrown back in his face, and I just thought, no, I can't sit by.
That's another thing. So I heard that, and it became accusatory. It was like, oh yeah, no, he's not here, he doesn't want to answer, all this sort of stuff, and it was very, very, it was uncomfortable, and there was a lot of people listening.
Yeah, shame. It was a shame, really, because they could have, there was a lot of people maybe tuned in that weren't necessarily advanced supporters currently, and to just have to deal with that sort of side of things as well was a shame. But hey, it's sent to try us.
But that's where moderators that's where moderators come in, and that's where that's where strong group boundaries come in, and unfortunately, as we grow, we're going to have that. And I don't particularly. The conversation is lost when someone is every other word is an expletive. It just becomes a rant. And it's not me to police people's communications styles and all that, but if you're going to get a point across, try and get your point across, in a reasonable way, not in an aggressive, attacking, defamating way, and you know what I mean. And I think Richard done very, very well, actually. He was calm, he was collected, he was on point, he was on, and he done very, very well. And I never noticed any inflection in his voice as towards intolerance or anything like that. He done much better than I would have done. So I would have said, see you want to talk to me, we'll have a conversation. If you don't want to talk, you want to carry on like that, that's not the way to communicate. Now, if you're ready to have a decent conversation and listen and a two-way conversation, then we will have one. But if you want to just carry on effing and blinding and this and that, then I'm afraid I'm not even going to engage with you.
Yeah, and I'm for one who, if I was in a space and the host wasn't kind of holding it together, or it was just a little bit too over the edge, I probably would never go back in that space ever again. So I think it is important to keep on track. I mean, some spaces they're meant to be controversial and like that. That's their whole game. But there's certainly spaces I've watched, US spaces, where the host has started getting successful and they've started becoming very dictatorial and very rude, and I kind of just ended up switching off. So the whole idea of this space is to be open. It's kind of what it is. It's slightly chaotic because we never know who's going to turn up and what's going to happen next. But I kind of quite like that kind of bit of chaos. I don't like things that are too structured and too planned out.
What I've noticed over the last 3 weeks is this space flows because everybody's voice is, and you see what happens. It's like it's like a leading by example, and by the way, the eulogy and the prologue about the events the other day was very touching and very moving, and it was emotive.
Was that Pete? Was that Pete's?
It was very emotive, and full credit. It put into words what a lot of us would feel, but wouldn't be able to put into words as adequately as he did. So thank you for that, because it touched me, and I'm sure it touched everybody else who was listening. And that's what we can never take our eye off of. That's the gravitas of the situation, and it is a serious situation. And when we descend into slagging each other off and political point scoring, and that's why I say former party or other party, I don't really want to get directly involved in slagging anybody off, because we've already decided that that's not the way forward. We are not going to advance by denigrating other people. When we are asked what the differences are, we can lay them out, give them the tools at their disposal, and they can decide for themselves. And they are. It's growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, but also, Tony, we're nowhere near splitting a vote because there's nothing to vote for.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly right.
Years
you're exactly right. And and this is what I point out. You're coming from a place where you're actually saying, if the election was tomorrow, okay, I understand you. But we're talking about a lot of things. I mean, I had someone the other day say to me, reform are the only people who can do it. And I said, hold on a minute. Last year, that's only in the last year. We have 3 years until the next election. And I suspect, as most people know, that come hell or high water, Labour are not going to give up this parliament unless they are forced to. Yeah. And it's a very, very difficult thing to force a dissolution of parliament. So I can see them hanging on tooth and nail and going as long as they can. Right. So if we take that, it might not be Starmer there. We know that because it's never a decrease in circles, whether he's going to be there or not, but somebody else will be there in his place. And they will hold on to power as long as they can. So we've got a couple of years without any kind of major incidents or devaluation or going to the IMF with a begging bowl or anything like that. You know, to say this Parliament sees its way out. So you can't formulate an opinion and go, oh, you can't say this, you've got to stick together, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I mean, a lot of us have considered opinions, experiential opinions, okay, which, you know, that is why Advance is as strong as it is within 4 short months. And that is why it will continue to grow, because we are considered, we do have the solutions, we do have the right message, and we are conciliatory.
Yeah, well, I can't believe it's only 4 months. Anthony, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring in Katie because she's a new speaker. I don't think we've had up before. I can see there's one or two other people's hands up, but I think Katie maybe bring you in on that. And thanks, Anthony, for the kind words about Pete. He has got a way with words that makes someone like myself quite jealous and envious.
We all have our talent.
I'm kind of good at.
We all have our talent.
What? We've got different.
Yeah.
Zoe's amazing with her kind of very focused kind of way of talking about things. Pete's got his obvious strengths, and hopefully I kind of like just try and be the glue that keeps everything together. That's the aim. You're
not kind of like that. You are that. Okay. Let's have it right. You know, in the last 3 weeks, the evidence points to this is a safe space. This is an organised space, and this is a space where everybody can come together without fear or favour and share their views, share their hopes, share their knowledge, and everything else. And that is what we are all about.
Katie, over to you. Put your mic on. You got the stage.
Hiya. I'm new to this whole politics thing. I literally have never joined a party. I've never voted, which everyone can boo me for or whatever if they want to, but I always was of the opinion of if I didn't vote, I can't be blamed. Principle. But when I heard about Advance, it was just like, actually, this is everything I want in a party. And I've watched Ben, and I've watched the only other party I would have gone for would have been Reform, but I personally have a dislike of Nigel. There's just something about him, his not sticking to anything. I think he just wants to be PM. On a few points we've talked about tonight, I think this space is absolutely amazing, because for someone that doesn't know anything but wants to do as much as they can to help, this is brilliant. I think the youth are being definitely indoctrinated. I think we can all agree on that sort of principle. So I think that is a really good place we need to be at, is getting the youth vote as well.
Yeah, exactly. Or help out on a national level as well. Like I could travel anywhere, but I'm time limited. But if I can do something like these spaces that's kind of helping on a national level, that's great for me.
And there are going to be a lot of grassroots supporters that are starting now, because there's a whole, like you say, a shift in our culture now where we've all had enough. And people that wouldn't necessarily have joined a party like myself, or have voted, or have just voted for whoever they thought was, you know, their mates were voting for, sort of principle. This is now becoming a point where people are going, no, I want to vote for the person that's going to do something. And I do believe Advance and Ben is the way to do that.
Stella, over to you.
Okay, hi. Yeah, so I didn't hear last night's space. I think I'm quite lucky. I don't know what Anthony said, but I would have been livid and I would have pushed back as well. Anyway, Katie, I think you, David Clark and Anthony nailed it. To create the local groups. It's how women's rights advocacy happened. It's how we've been able to push back about gender ideology. What happened is, and don't worry about the GDPR. So what happens is you connect via X and you create little groups on X, and then you create, and it expands out, and you create WhatsApp groups. But you don't bring them into the WhatsApp groups and stuff like that until you've had to FaceTime them.
Yeah.
You FaceTime them. You make sure they're the right kind of person before you allow them in the group. You do absolutely create local groups on this, because you can't go out doing anything unless you have local groups to do it with. So it grows exponentially. So, you know, you've got like a central hub, and it's like someone's coming from Kent, somebody's coming from Huddersfield, somebody's coming from here. And, you've got a central hub where you just go, right, okay, well, I'll throw that one out there, throw that one out there. They used to do it on Teams, but it created WhatsApp groups, and this is how you do it. You find the people that are interested, and you link them into their various WhatsApp groups, and you create that hub. You need to create hubs of locals. Anyway, that's what we did. I'd also like to discuss the flags, because I bloody love them. It makes me smile every single time I'm seeing a flag. It just makes me breathe out a little bit more, knowing that I'm not the only one standing up, and it makes me smile. And finally, Matt, Rupert, I do have a suspicion, and I could be absolutely wrong here, but I do have a suspicion that Ben and Rupert might be working in tandem anyway. Rupert doesn't want to align politically at the moment, but then Ben doesn't have a party at the moment. So, what Rupert is doing is exactly what Ben needs him to do. He's creating policies, and he's working, he's working exactly in alignment to what the policies Advance need to be put into place. So I suspect that Ben and Rupert might be, more aligned than they're letting us on. But I don't care about that. I love that idea. And I think when Rupert's policies are finished, I think Advance will just pick them up wholesale. And finally, we just need to call out every single lie from the left. Every single one. We've let them get away with it for way too often. We just need to call every single one out and give the receipts. Because the receipts are out there, it's very easy to find them. That's me.
Love that. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Stella.
Stella. Darren, next.
No, guys, carry on what you're doing. Well done. Very good space so far. Well done indeed. I like Tony, what he said about the idea. But no, that's what I need to say. Carry on doing the space. I've probably got some ideas later, but I'm still thinking at the minute. But carry on what you guys are doing.
Thanks, Darren. Laurel. No, Aileen. Sorry. Apologies, Laurel. Aileen first. Aileen, are you there?
Sorry, no, my phone was playing up there for me. Sorry. Just a couple of things, and I'll just briefly go back to last night's space, and then I'll drop it because I want to forget it. But it just, and well done, Zoe. I decided not to go in because I just thought I am no good at hiding the fact that I think people are morons if I think they're morons. And it's not the fact that they disagreed or whatever. It was just the illogicality of the arguments. It was the, what's Advance UK about? And why is it different? And why did it start up? And somebody who I don't even think was part of Advance UK said there are just some people, because of the brand and the reputation, will never vote for UKIP. And he took great offence at that, as if, and he was saying, oh no, but that's kind of like, that's not fair, as if that not being fair meant it wasn't true. So that because of unfairness, we shouldn't have started another party. It was just ridiculous. And then the bit, and I'm sorry, but, the college is developing policy. We're not sitting and waiting for what Rupert's going to do. I wish him luck. I think he's been a great MP and he's doing great stuff. But that's the developing policy for Advance is what the college is doing. But the also thing too about last night's space was a woman sort of poo-pooing the idea of developing policy when you're not talking face to face. And she just rubbished it without giving any rationale as to why that was rubbish. And I'm sorry, but I'm really impressed with the process that we're involved in. And it involves people doing their own individual research and then, you know, and disseminating our information and then coming together. And I think I'm quite excited about it. But just to on what, Anthony was saying about Northern Ireland and Ben, and just absolutely. And I'm not sure if it was in the last space that I said this, and forgive me if I had, but just to let people know that Ben's first visit to Northern Ireland was to come to Fermanagh to visit the victims group that I'm part of. So he came over, he spent a few days entirely at his own expense to come and meet victims in Fermanagh. And although our victims group supports innocent victims of both loyalist and Republican terrorism, in Fermanagh, virtually all the terrorism was by the IRA. And so that was who he was coming to visit, and he went on the border trail to see the sites of where these atrocities happened, and that was Ben's first visit to Northern Ireland. And little did any of us know what was going to, you know, to come of that. But just to my own thing about Northern Ireland's place in the kingdom, as far as I'm concerned, we have bought our place by blood. Both in our contribution, like all the other parts of the kingdom, and our contribution down the years in world wars, but also in the blood of how so many, including my mother, were murdered. And then, and police, army, civilians, and local security forces, but also it is by the blood of many of our soldiers who are English, Scottish and Welsh as well. And it is one of the things that I really want to do within Advance UK is to support our veterans. I have a particular interest, personal interest in those, the soldiers who have been damaged either physically or emotionally because of their service in relation to Northern Ireland, and to the families of murdered soldiers. But I don't stop there. I want to help veterans across the board. I want to help anybody that has put on a uniform to help keep me safe, even if it was done it under Blair's false wars. That's not the fault of the soldiers who went out there and have suffered. And I absolutely, that thing about if we send them, we must mend them. And in terms of those that lost their lives, it's a debt that can never be repaid. And I want to do my bit in actually supporting those people. And it would be just absolutely wonderful if Advance UK was to really turn round things like veteran suicides, which apart from just being awful for that veteran that has gone through that and has made that decision, I know it has an awful effect on his comrades as well. And we owe it to these people. And I say it's a debt that can never be repaid, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. And I really feel very motivated to do that. But I also know that in having that motivation, I am knocking on an open door. I can't think of one member of the college or one member of Advance UK that I've ever come across that doesn't have that burning ambition as well to do something for our veterans. And then on a lighter note, my suggestion for a film that people should be encouraged to watch is Kind Hearts and Coronets. Old black and white Ealing comedy. Absolutely brilliant, very funny, beautifully acted, and the language and the standard of prose in it is an education in itself. So thank you.
I mean, there's a film buff. It's one film I've never actually watched, so I will definitely put that on our list. And we're going to hopefully get some ideas together, and then get together a little list to have a featured film of the week. Maybe we'll start that next week, because this night's kind of overtaking that. So it's definitely one that we'll put down there. I know Richard Thompson was on last week or the week before, I think, and he was obviously mentioning veterans, and I think we are going to do a veterans focused space at some point. So is that right, Pete?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was a veteran from the TA in 2002, so it has always been a thing, and a lot of people have noticed the political parties don't actually cover that base very often. So he definitely said he's going to do something. I think it's a vital outlet for a lot of people now. The space on Facebook is a slow grow, but it's getting there. So hopefully we'll do pretty well with that.
Yeah, and I think that they've always said, well, there's not enough money to sort homelessness. There's not enough money really to care for veterans. There's always a shortage of money. There's a shortage of housing. But we're seeing that billions that are being pumped into housing the kind of mainly illegal migrants in these hotels and providing services for them. The money was there for that. So it shouldn't be a money issue. It shouldn't, there's a lot of homeless people I've come across who are ex-veterans, and they're on the streets, they're living rough, mainly because they've got developed drug addictions, or they've got other issues often coming from their time in service. So we definitely need to look out for these people in a big way,
Laurel next.
Yep. Well, I wanted to say Tony hit a big nail on the head about all of those people who do not vote. I'm in Scotland, and that's how Indy was so close, was because they tapped in to the people who would never vote, or the working and the welfare, if you like, classes, the people in the schemes, who are the people most affected by Westminster's shit decisions. That's how it was sold by the Indy people. But there's a lot of them in England, so obviously they weren't motivated, and they're the people that support Tommy, and they're the people that will support Advance as well. And yeah, definitely that is the people who've never voted. This has been a fabulous space. I don't join in spaces often.
Well, make sure you come back next Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday at 7:00. I just looked at the stats. I think we've had something like 800 people dropping in and out of the space, which is a new record for us. Everybody who's been up has said something that's very useful and very, very valuable in their own way. So that's all been brilliant.
Well, that's it. Positivity. There's people. These people I've heard speak tonight are obviously can-do people, not the moaning. Oh, it's unfair. Whoever said that about the whole on that space, they were going on about how things are unfair, and I'm like, what are they not lefties if they're saying that? Because I think that what we need to do is just to be the can-do and positive people, and try to not engage with negative people who have no actual ideas or no vision. We need to actually create the vision of what UK do we want.
Yeah, one thing you're right on, I think Tony Matt mentioned it, is that 40 or 50% of people in this country don't vote, and a lot of them would be people from working class communities who, for whatever reason, don't feel that any of the main political parties kind of represent them anymore. They may have been typical Labour voters in the past, and I think that's a big demographic, I think, for Advance UK. I heard Nigel Farage say something that talking about polite society. So it's almost like there's this kind of putting people who from different communities, the classing them as that lot, or they're not from polite society, or they et cetera, and I think that's incredibly...
The deplorables. You're talking about the deplorables.
Yeah, and obviously in America it was Hillary Clinton who called everybody a basket of deplorables. Yeah, exactly. And I think there's something that I think a lot of people missed. There was a councillor in Surrey who defected to Reform. This is a way back in February or January. It was a way back then when things were a little bit heady back then. And he was on an interview, I think it was on one channel. I heard him saying he was in a leafy part of Surrey, and he was basically saying the reason he joined Reform is because the future for Reform was going to be attracting Tories and Liberal Democrats in the shires, and that's the audience they had to court in order to get elected. And the Reform, what was then the Reform base, would be irrelevant very shortly. That's what this guy said, and this was way back in February. He'd just been persuaded to join Reform at that stage, and everything you can see there is kind of happening. They are trying to make them...
That is the exact attitude of the careerist politician that we need to get rid of.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I might bring in...
Okay, I'll be back next week. Don't you worry.
So guys, Matt, you're not going to get another introduction, right? Okay. So don't worry. Okay.
Sorry.
That's why you've got your hand up, right? Okay. Tony.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be brief, because, as has already been said, I don't need to, put my 2 pennies worth in, because everybody's doing so well, and it's wonderful what I'm listening to. And as I've said many times, I'm infused and excited, and as Aileen is, by what we're hearing, and I just wanted to touch on one or two points that you did broaden out yourself, and one of the earlier speakers did, that said about, never been engaged in politics and all that. That is what Advance UK is about. As far as we're concerned, and people think that I'm, politically experienced. I'm not. I got involved in politics a couple of years ago because of local issues, and it just kind of built from there. Before that, I was just a politically interested, but I've never been involved in politics. So I am the same, absolutely the same. And we are all the same. We have to get starting from somewhere. Okay. And what Advance want is, we believe that the people who have been in politics historically over the last 30, 40 years have literally broken this country. Yeah. We do not want anybody who has these politically fixed ideas, these indoctrinations, these ideals and these philosophies, etc. We want new thinking. We want to change politics in this country and make it accessible for everybody. And I mean everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, you have a voice. If you are a British citizen, you have a voice. And that's what we're all about. So, it doesn't matter if you've only been in politics or interested in politics for a week or a month or a year or 2 years. We are all the same. Yeah, this is what we want, because we cannot carry on like we have done for the last few decades, and you do not fix anything by leaving the same people who broke it in charge. So anybody who's thinking about getting into politics or is just becoming politically engaged, you are more than welcome, and the floor and the stage is yours. Come and join us.
Yeah, and obviously one way of starting, I guess, is locally with your local council elections.
Absolutely.
I'm
just going to sling in a book and a film, and then I'm off. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Do you want to drop some hints first, and maybe we can have a little guess between the three hosts here?
Right, okay. No, listen, the book is a very important book, and a lot of us have read it, but I would say, as far as English literature goes, 1984, Orwell. It's an absolute 100% adequate description and a warning of what we are living now. Okay. And it's one of my favourite books, and I've read quite a lot of books, and, and in that book, he coins a term, oikophobe. An oikophobe translates in that book in 1984 to a person who rejects their heritage and is ashamed of their origins and their society. And that's what we are living. We are made to feel oikophobic, and we have to stand up against that. And that's what the flags are about. It's about people's rejection of feeling shame for who they are. And we should never feel shame for who we are. We should always stand in our authenticity and our truth, because that is who we are. The second thing I want to say, and it's not necessarily an English film, but this the ethos. If you think outside the box, there's a film called Field of Dreams, and the famous line from Field of Dreams is, "If you build it, they will come."
They will come.
Yeah. And then if you just sort of just think along the parallels of Advance UK and what we're trying to do, etc., etc. And I said this to Ben last year: if we build it, they will come. Okay, that's me. Yeah. That's me done.
I think there are two excellent suggestions. I've heard 1984 before from someone, Zoe.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great, I studied it at GCSE and we watched the film, and I honestly now look back at it. I've read it again and I've watched the film, and I think my teacher was very brave to show a bunch of 15-year-olds the film. Very brave, but it was a brilliant book. And yes, I've read it probably another 2 times in my adult life. So yeah, perfect suggestions. And I've quoted the "build it and they will come" quite a few times when people have rejected Advance or belittled us or poo-pooed us. Yeah, build it and they will come. Definitely.
Field of Dreams, Pete, another film I haven't seen. I'm supposed to be a film guy, right? Can you fill me in very quickly on that?
Kevin Costner, basically, his father.
Oh, Kevin Costner. That's probably why I haven't watched it. Right.
So his father was actually a baseball player, and ultimately he built this baseball field in the middle of a big corn crop and spent all his money doing it. And loads of famous baseball players started turning up as ghosts. And in the end, it all, do you want that? No, I'm not going to tell the spoiler, am I? So,
No.
yeah,
I
they
think
built
you've
this
said
baseball
enough,
field.
Pete. I think you've said enough.
Yeah,
Just
no, I
watch
just
it.
realised.
It's a good film.
No, I'm
It's
not
a
going to tell
great
you that.
metaphor. It's a
I
great
know.
metaphor for Advance and Ben and
Yeah.
what we're trying to do and all of us.
It's a brilliant film.
Yeah.
If you build
It's
it,
well worth it.
they will come. Yeah. So I'm going to watch that. Obviously, the Kevin Costner thing kind of got me because he was so on call when I was kind of younger, and the baseball thing, I never really got baseball, but I will put that on my watch list as well. But we're going to get a little list together, and we'll see where that comes. If it's going to be, it might not be our first choice on the very top of the top list, but it's going to be there or there about somewhere, I would think. Yeah.
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Yes. All animals are equal. Some are more equal than others. That was a perfect metaphor for Armageddon.
Yeah.
Socialism and communism.
Yeah.
Any more ideas, anybody? Out there in the general listeners,
Brave New World. Brave New World for me.
Yeah.
We had that last week, didn't we? Brave New.
Yeah.
Brave New
Aldous
World.
Huxley. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many. There's a lot of people who've never ever watched The Prisoner, the original TV series, which is amazingly well produced for its time, but that has kind of has some sort of relevance to modern Britain in a bizarre way. But it's also the most fascinating, entertaining piece of that's ever watched. But sometimes it's very hard to find these things because you can find these things free if you really hunt around for them, but often you can't find them. But I know if you hunt around long enough, you can find all episodes of the original Prisoner for free. In good high
Prisoner is
quality.
absolutely brilliant. That's why number 8's my favourite number. I am not a number.
Yeah.
I am a free man. It's
Exactly.
absolutely brilliant.
Well, my membership number for Advance is 49106 or something. So I am kind of a number, I guess.
No,
but,
you're not. You're a free man. You are a member of Advance.
I'm
not
a
a
free
subscriber, by the way. That was another point that came out yesterday. We are not subscribers. We are members.
That was painful, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite funny when you go on to the last night thing, but like at the end, I went against their rules and had a go at not had a go, but made a point about the people moderating it. I said, I think this is just basically a setup, and it's just a shame the moderators haven't stepped in. And then I exit it before I said something silly. So shame.
Yeah, but I think you echoed a lot of people's feelings, and I had to get out. And as Zoe said, that she did say something, and then she went back and apologised. But it was just chaos, and it was very unpleasant. It was very unpleasant and unnecessary, and wasn't productive in the least.
No, it's a shame because it started off promising and it had a lot of followers on it, but it's just sort of degrading the message and just going against what the facts are. I think they picked those. I said it to the start. They picked certain points that were just impossible for any political party in their infancy to answer. And then they knew it would be this in their minds a gotcha moment. And then all three just reiterated it. So it was a nightmare, but I think we made our points, us two, at the end. So, it's, hopefully the people have a more sense than just to listen to talking points.
Yeah, and sadly, Pete, I was looking forward to you kind of showing us those big sort of steel toe cap boots and having to be a little bit tough tonight. But you haven't. You've kind of had a pretty easy run of it, really. So I'm gonna have to play some practical jokes on you or something like that afterwards, just to kind of like give you something to think about.
I can only say where Anglian 301-41044. Sorry.
Right. Okay. You're terrifying me. I will stop the Robbie Williams comparisons then.
Don't worry.
I'm not going to be asking for any.
So I was going to say, should we try and bring enough already back in? See if it works.
Yeah,
enough already. Are you still there?
Restore the decorum. Thank you, Zoe. I'll click off now.
Thanks, Tony. Enough already? Can you come up? Can you unmute your mic?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. I'm not a public speaker, but I just want to say how lovely it's been tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Listening to a group of civilized, lateral thinkers who are not bleating and shouting and complaining, but just giving positivity and giving a route forward. And it's just wonderful. I'm so grateful. It's, you're a wonderful bunch of people.
That is going to be clipped out of this speech and it's going to be put on X. I guarantee you, as a
You're
little soundbite from this
a
space.
wonderful, wonderful bunch of people. And it's headed by the most remarkable fellow in Ben. He is the most amazing man. From when I very first saw him or heard him 4 or 5 years ago, I just knew he was going to be our future. And he's looking a bit pale at the moment. I'm a bit worried about him. But he's electric.
I think he certainly does seem that he's obviously, I mean, maybe obviously Tony knows him well, I would guess, but he does seem, I think he's all over the place. And I think he's still obviously running his businesses. I think and there's not really anybody, a lot of people out there, with a big voice like he has out there. I know Richard, Taylor's been doing some things and, they've had the kind of advanced spaces, but he's having to shoulder, a lot of the media responsibilities himself, really. And
his only voice is he can only get his voice out via this media at the moment, really. And it must be a great strain on him, sort of having to dash around and meet various, podcasty people and that sort of thing, because it's his only way, and which is criminal, absolutely criminal. What is being done to him?
And I can imagine that he's got very little time just to stop and take stock, really.
I hope he's all right. Yeah. I just hope he's all right. He looks incredibly sort of pale and pasty, not in a horrible way, because he's a very handsome man. But he's looking pale, and I just hope he's being looked after.
Right. So Tony or anybody else in this chat who kind of maybe knows Ben, if you want to just shoot him a little message and just say that the space we have, that we do hope that he's looking after himself, and that
I'll do it now.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man, and I know deep. I've got a good feel for politics, and what's going on, and I just have a real guttural feeling he is going to do it.
Yeah,
real absolute positivity about the man. He's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and I just hope that there's other figureheads that start emerging in the party that can share the responsibility.
That's quite right. But the crux of it is at the helm you've got a good un. You've got a real good man who's just his whole being is in the right place, and it sort of exudes from him. He's gonna do us proud. I just know it.
Yeah, and the more you see of Ben, he's somebody who brings people together, and I think that's why the space here is, we're trying to kind of echo Ben a little bit. It's trying to be somebody who brings people together. I've heard Ben say one or two things that were quite pointed about reform and things like that, but I haven't really ever heard him be.
No, he's not vitriolic. He's not. There's none of that in him. There's none of that in him, and he's funny. He's bloody funny. He really is. He's just an all-round good un.
Yeah, exactly. I made the mistake when I met him at the launch of mentioning that I shook Rishi Sunak's hand once and wished him well if he got the leadership. He found that very, very funny that I'd done that, and I don't think he was very impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're a great bunch of people. We're kindred spirits. I feel it. We're real kindred spirits, and it's going to happen. it is going to.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully we can get the same group together and build this group on a Wednesday, and we can bring in new people. I'm really interested to hear from new people who've never maybe spoken on a space before. I had never put my voice in public, even to an audience, ever before in my entire life until a few weeks ago. So yeah. We want more people to get the confidence to put a hand up, come up and say something.
Definitely. Every Wednesday you've got me.
You know.
Absolutely have.
Yeah, brilliant.
Lovely.
Excellent. Thank
you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, and thanks for waiting for your say as well. Exactly. Is there a book or a film you think we should be thinking of that somehow
maybe tuck into the Bible every now and then, a little chunk here and there. we've got
I find the Bible incredibly I find the Bible incredibly hard to read because of the way it's written, and it's always very, very small text. And
I've never read it. I'm a hypocrite here. I've never read it, but little chunks.
I'm listening. Oh, sorry. I'm actually listening to it on Audible at the moment, read by David Suchet, Poirot, and it's a year in the Bible, so it gives you a day by day thing. And I'm finding that quite interesting. I just do sort of half an hour of an evening as a bit of a wind down. And obviously his voice is quite nice. So that's maybe something to give it a go, or a podcast
what a great
you can find.
Yeah, great idea. But I think it's something that we've lost. We as a nation, it's gone. It hasn't been instilled in us from as littles, really. It's gone. We've lost it. And to retrieve it would be a great thing, I think.
Yeah, and I was brought up a long time ago, but like a very long time ago. But I think you went to church once a year at Christmas, and there was a really, really boring minister who'd stand up in a freezing cold church and waffle on about stuff you didn't know about, and you'd have to stand up and sing some songs I couldn't sing, and that was it. That was it basically. And I mean that was a way back in the day. So I think whether or not you're Christian, you're a believer or not, I do think the Bible holds a lot of knowledge there for us. It's a bit like Shakespeare. I've always had trouble reading Shakespeare, but I think those that do read Shakespeare and understand Shakespeare can get a lot of meaning and value from that as well.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, I can see a new speaker. Yeah, thank you. And there's a new speaker here. I think, is it Gold?
Hello. How you doing?
Hi there. I can see a big advanced UK kind of
that's me.
Thing on your profile.
It's the only party I can relate to be honest. It's interesting you say about Shakespeare, because I've tried to read the Bible so many times, and the excerpts out of it just sound like Shakespeare, and it's confusing to me. I just can't get me around some of the things in the Bible. I've tried, but anyway, what I was going to say to you, in my area, I'd like to highlight an advance, if you know what I mean. What I was going to say, is there any offices in the local Bournemouth, Dorset, Poole area where I could get leaflets and go around and knock houses and get feedback from people, see what they think currently, what they think where the country's going, what direction we should go in, what they think of the current government. Just get a bit of feedback. I've got a questionnaire set up, but I'd like some. I don't know if there's offices in. I'm unsure if there's where they have got offices, if they've got offices advance anywhere around the country.
Yeah, they don't have offices. I think Zoe can come in a sec and give you some more information about leafleting. I know that I went to a meeting for the North East of England branch, and I think that might be one of the pilot branches they're going to roll out.
Okay.
And from what I could see, that is still in its infancy, and that's in the North East of England, which is a pivotal place, I would think, for advanced support. So they are, I think, working very hard on these things, but it might be some time before and I think unlike having a branch in every town or every constituency, it's going to be like a group for an area. And then the whole idea would be that there's little groups that kind of form off that on a more local basis. But I think your idea of taking some leaflets out and knocking on doors and chatting people just to get a bit of feedback would be really useful. Yeah, and if you're able to feed any of that back to us, that would be very valuable information. We'd be very interested in to see what ordinary people are thinking, because are they picking up on this far right stuff? Is that the impression they have?
Where I live, I don't think they'd be interested in that. They're like-minded like me, a lot of them, and they just need They're politically homeless. They need something. But the thing is, there's not enough people that know about Advance. When it first came out, when it was just a little way before getting 30,000 members, and they're just about to get to 30,000, and they can apply to be a party and whatever. I said, Zoe was there when I went in the uncensored Patriots trying to advance with Larry Lyons, he's one as well, and we sort of put it across, and then people got on board, and then Zoe came in and explained everything, and then people didn't even know about it, and people still don't know about it. That's the problem. And I know if they know the policies that Ben Habib and that represent, I know they'd be straight on board, but they don't know enough about it. So that's the thing I want to try and get in my area in Bournemouth, Poole, Christchurch. It's about 400,000 people to say, I'm not going to obviously get round, but just get to people and just say, listen, there is an alternative from Reform. If you're not liking them, you're not on board with Farage, the flip flopper, and just trying to. And the North East one, you're on about the Newcastle one, yeah.
Yeah, there's a danger. I think there's a danger that people who are like on X or who are in the party, to think that everybody out there knows about the party, and I'm telling you they don't. I was in Newcastle for the launch, and I bumped into some UKIP supporters who were there, and I didn't know there was a UKIP march in town that day, and I asked them if they were going to the Advance launch because they had all these Union Jacks with them, Advance UK. They'd never heard of it. They hadn't even heard of Ben Habib, and these are UKIP supporters going on a UKIP march. Later on, I bumped into some Antifa people who'd been beating up some of the UKIP people, and they hadn't heard of Advance, and they hadn't heard of Ben Habib, but they thought we were UKIP and were going to get pretty toasty with us. But I managed to get them into conversation. So there's definitely, outside the people that know about Advance and maybe who follow Tommy or are politically in the know, I would say the vast majority of people out there haven't heard of Advance, don't know who Advance is. My mum has never heard of Advance. So most of the people I know have never heard of Advance. So I think if you go out there and knock on a few doors, you'll maybe gauge that. And if you're able to come back and let us know what resulted from that, that would be really interesting.
That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm not going to just do that. I'm going to do the high street. There's a college by me. Obviously, there's a lot of lefties in college. We know that. But you're right. People think there's a bubble that, because you're on Twitter and you think what you think, that everyone knows what you're on about. And a lot of people don't do Twitter. A lot of people go on different sites.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, exactly. And that's why we're trying to get a little website together for our little group here. So we've got a little independent website because people will visit a website if they've got a link, who are interested. Yeah. But Zoe, maybe you can come in and,
can I just quickly say the maddening thing to me is sends me fucking nuts. Sorry for swearing. Sends me nuts. People say, well, why don't you get together with UKIP and Reform and all? It's never ever going to happen. Advance will never get with Reform because of the bad blood for that, but it won't happen. UKIP got Tankoni, he's got a big ego himself. That would never happen. So just concentrate on your own party, but just get the message out that get as many people knowing about it. Like you said, not everyone's on Twitter, so not everyone knows about it. This is why I want to. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And UKIP, they've got a very strong message. They're more of an activist group rather than a party. They're doing a lot of marches and protests, and they've got a very, very Christian focused message that might put people off who might be culturally Christian but might not be believers, okay, as well. So they've got their own little group, and all success to them. And obviously we don't know what's going to happen with Reform in the future. But nothing in life ever stays the same. Everything is in a constant state of flux. So yeah, maybe Zoe, you can let Gold here know a little bit more about the leafleting and how that works.
Well, yeah, literally you just buy the leaflets from the website. So I'll pop the website in the notes in a minute. I think it's advanceshop.org.uk from memory, but basically you can.
It's pretty cheap, right?
They're £25 for a box of 1,500.
Right. Okay, that's cheap. Yeah, as far as
so obviously depends on how you want to distribute them. I did, as right at the beginning, I got leaflets and I went round and I just popped them through the doors. I don't know how successful that was because obviously the feedback would be if anybody joined up, but I've never been sort of told. But we were talking earlier about potentially getting into shopping centres and just having a chat with people, which I know requires a bit of knowledge about the party so that you can answer questions, but maybe just try not to get into too much debate and questioning at the moment, unless you feel sort of confident in what you're saying. But it's just, as you say, to get the word out there, because I honestly believe that's the way we're going to win it, is that we need to get on the streets and we need to talk to people, because you need to get to those apathetic voters, those disillusioned people. But again, the other thing we were discussing is how we connect with each other. So I think from this, we've sort of taken away that, yes, we do want regional X groups so that we can then get a buddy system going, so that then you can feel confident to maybe go out with 2 or 3 people, to have that support. Because that's kind of what's holding me back at the moment, is I could go into town quite happily by myself in a way, but you know, I've kind of held back on having my, I mean, I've had a meeting, but I had some people that I knew already that we could come together. So we had one from West Yorkshire, well, 2 from West Yorkshire, me from North Yorkshire, well, actually, sorry, 3 from West Yorkshire, 1 from South Yorkshire, me from North Yorkshire, and I can't remember where the other person came from. But we all came together and we said, you know, what we'll do is try and do a caravan. So we'll go to West Yorkshire, all of us together, and be a group there, and then hopefully pick up people. And on the 8th of November, there is a meeting in Leeds, being really professionally organised, and there'll be 100 people there. So I'm hoping to meet at least some people from my area that I can then connect with. So I think that's kind of where we're at the moment, is connections is the thing. How do we get those connections? How do we make that buddy up system work? And Facebook is the other one. Obviously, there are lots of groups on Facebook, so you might be worth having a look at Facebook for Dorset, maybe, and seeing if there's anybody there.
Yeah, there is a Dorset group. In fact, there's 2. There's one with 71 members, one with 8. So the Dorset group does exist. It's on the network.
I was going to quickly say, just quickly before, there's hands up here, and I'm aware of fucking taking up too much time, but I am politically astute with the questionnaire. Don't worry, I'm not going to get in debates with people. I can't sway people to say, oh, you must vote advance. You just get the feedback off them, and I've already set up this, me and Sandy, you know Sandy out there, Uncensored Patriots, we was going to do the Sage Go. She's done it a couple of times, and she's had to change some of the questions on there. There's certain questions you can't ask because you're politically swaying them. I know it sounds you should advance, but you've got to be a bit clever with the wording on the questions and stuff like that. And like you said, don't get in a debate, just get the feedback, and I'll feed it back to the local Dorset group or back on here, whatever, and I'll make way now. That's me done.
Right. Yeah, come back on here and let us know. We'd kind of love to know. What we're trying to do here is kind of crowdsource stuff. So we're hoping to maybe put like cheat sheets together to help people with kind of common questions they might get on the doorstep, and give them not necessarily I give them some little response that they can come back with. I mean, for me personally, I know that this is my take. I know that whatever Advance UK's policies are when we go to a general election, I'm going to be okay with 50% of them. 20%, maybe 30%, I'm going to wish they were a lot tougher. And 20%, I'm either going to disagree with or wish they were a little bit weaker and softer in certain areas. But that's every political party. So for me, the main thing to get over is the sense that Advance UK, it's a party of heart. It's a party of the people. It is a truly democratic party where each member is as valuable as each other member. And it's a ground up party rather than Reform or the other older political parties that are very much top down. So that's, for me, that's the big message you want to try and get over. Yep. The policy debates, you know, I think a less reason people vote. I'm in marketing and sales. So people buy things for an emotional reason more than they do for an actual practical, logical reason. So I think the way Advance is going to gain momentum is by making sure that its message is very strong emotionally. And I think Ben, as a leader, is a perfect person to lead, because he's got the right kind of qualities for people to trust in and kind of have faith on. And, for what I've seen of Ben, he's had the same stance over many, many years, and he hasn't really wavered. So yeah, that's
you just said the key word. You said the key word there, and we need to get on our feet, because momentum is everything in politics. It's momentum we need.
Yeah, that's why we started this group. I think Pete might want to come in on this, because I met Pete actually at the launch party, and we both kind of connected after that, and were quite critical of the party for that momentum, maybe nothing happening with that momentum energy from the launch. And that's how we ended up starting this space here, because we felt that there wasn't a way for us to get involved and do something. So that's what we've done here. So I think keeping that momentum going is really, really important. And in any political party, you'll find that the number of people who have the time or energy or inclination to get really involved in some way is always going to be a relatively small percentage, but you need to collect those people along the way and bring them with you to create that very active group, and then other people can join in as and when they're able to, really, so I think it's important. The space is doing an important job at the moment of just trying to keep people together that are quite motivated and crowdfund some ideas. And hopefully we're going to have a website up soon and some sort of media project as well, so we can just try and reach a bigger audience as well. That's the aim of myself and my kind of co-hosts here, I think.
Dottie's just kindly put the Gold. Dottie's just kindly put the shop details in the purple pill.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, thank you.
Yeah, and it'd be good to hear from you. You've done a little bit of market research, what you kind of come back with, and maybe on, we're probably going to wind this space down shortly, but it'd be interesting to know what it's like. You're down in Christchurch, Bournemouth, isn't it, down that area? So it'd be interesting to know how that has changed.
Yeah,
I used to go to Bournemouth when I was younger.
I'll probably come back with a can of beans on my head and an ice cream and a milkshake over me, but there you go.
Yeah, no, I used to go to Bournemouth and I would sleep on the beach, or I'd sleep in my car on the cliff tops back in the day, and it was this lovely place full of old retired people and beautiful sunshine and beaches. It was the safest place. Maybe three o'clock on a Saturday night, it was all a bit rowdy in town, but that was
Sorry,
it.
I don't know if you're aware, I don't want to keep chatting because there's people with hands up. You do realise we've got the first thing that's been implemented in Bournemouth called Safeguard Force.
No, I haven't. No,
we've got this thing called Safeguard Force. People are sick of the immigrants in the hotels. People are sick of people come down, and sex assaults went up 60% in 6 months. So they got the group 7 weeks ago, and they've created this thing. You can go on Facebook and see it. They've been on Talk TV. They've been on GB News. So 100 volunteers now they've got up to. They're 50, and they've had another 50 vetted, DBS checked, all policies. They've got stab-proof vests. It's called Safeguard Force. Incidents have gone from 4 incidents a night, which is 28 incidents a week, down to 1 or 2 incidents a week. There are families coming back out in Bournemouth and Poole saying, this is the first time I've been out in 2 years. I feel safe now coming out. It's called Safeguard Force. 100 volunteers, all vetted, all done. And they patrol all the time, the gardens, the beach, the town, everything. And it's reduced everything. And mums are coming back out. Girls that have been scared to go out are coming back out. It's the blueprint that should happen in every town, because I'm not being critical of the police. There's not enough police, and they're not patrolling the streets. So there's been murders down there. There's been rapes have gone right up, and it's all been reduced by just introducing the Safeguard Force. Look at it on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean,
it's amazing.
Yeah, the stuff I've read coming out of Bournemouth about assaults happening to young girls in the sea on crowded days, and that lady who was part of a lesbian couple who was killed on the beach just a summer or two ago. It's pretty horrendous stuff. But so you're kind of like a little bit like the Guardian Angels then in New York in the 1980s, I guess, just getting out there and being visible.
Yeah, do you know the mad thing is, right? The local council tried to bring it down. They stopped the GoFund. They got £7,000 in donations, and they stopped it saying we're vigilantes. But the police are on board with it, and now they've got round, and the public are just going up every minute saying you're doing a fantastic job. We feel safe now and everything. I've just put a picture of what happened last night. This is just a post from last night where they had 650 kids coming from all places to under 18s, like disco thing. They made sure everyone got home safely. There's people coming from Reading, which is like an hour and a half away. They escorted all these young girls to the train station safely and just keep everyone safe. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, no, we'd love to know more about that. Have you got any kind of videos that you can share of that? And is there anything that you've got?
There's one page I put about how they protected 650 kids last night, making sure they're safe. I've put in the purple pin.
Yeah.
But if you just put in Safeguard Force Bournemouth, it's on Facebook. They're a group. Yeah. I think they're up to 30,000 members now in 7 weeks. You can type it in Google. It will come up. They've been on like GB News a lot. They're trying to get a franchise, so they put it out in every town and city in the country. Because I've said this for 2 years now, it's going to come down to self-policing, because the policing just not doing their job. I'm not being hypercritical, but they're more interested in people posting stuff online and looking after people getting knifed or sexually assaulted. So, it's there. Just type it in, Safeguard Force Bournemouth.
Yeah, and I think Advance UK would be well advised to form relationships with all of these local groups. Certainly the media web project that we're thinking of launching will kind of list all of these kind of allied groups. They don't need to be things that are directly connected, but you've got things like the Pink Ladies, obviously, but you've obviously the Safeguard Force sounds brilliant. So we kind of feature those. It's hopefully we'll have this website where all of these different allies and groups can all be featured as well. So the word can just spread a lot quicker than it does at the moment. I've never heard of Safeguard Force. I'm on X most of the day looking at stuff, and we've been doing this chat for a few weeks. So it just shows you that getting the word out there is harder than you think sometimes. But it'd be great to see that sort of going around the country.
If this is a regular space, I could probably get a speaker to come and speak about it.
Yeah. Bring somebody on next week. We're here every Wednesday from 7, for 2 to 3 hours odd. Okay. And I think last week it was like 4 hours. But, yeah, we'd love to know more about it. It's the kind of thing we want to know. This is all about action. It's about front foot thinking, 100%. Positive action, ideas. This isn't really the place to come and debate a lot of, policy in too much detail, but everything on this space is meant to be forward thinking, positive action, ways we can make things better. So we'd love to have somebody come on and talk. So if you want to maybe just give me a follow maybe and DM me, maybe DM Zoe and Pete, my co-hosts as well, and we can arrange for somebody to come on. We can even put it in the kind of promo about that, because I think it's a brilliant idea what you guys are doing.
It's brilliant, and it's all right doing protests in front of hotels, but is that achieving as much as protecting women on the streets and kids like they're doing with Safeguard Force? No, this is stuff that's properly getting done. Protests are great and they do something, but do they achieve a lot? They get people aware, maybe, but they don't actually do anything. This is protecting in your towns women and children, which for me is massive. That's the main thing.
Yeah. I like what you said about people being vetted. You've obviously got some sort of vetting process there to make sure that
DBS checks.
You got all the checks as well, right? Okay, so you're doing it properly, right? Okay, so that's excellent. And I guess there's people that might be on there who are security. They've got security clearance, or the doormen and things like that as well. Is that right?
Ex-security, ex-military, some ex-police, ex-teachers, everything. All DBS. There was 50, and they've just vetted another 50. Gone through all the proper process. All the policies are there. They're open to ideas. If someone says, "Oh, I don't agree with this," and they sit there. Oh yeah, this is the other thing they've done. They've got 3 hubs now in the gardens, in the town centre, and by the beach, where if any kids are in distress, they can come to the hub. There's medics there. They've got phone chargers there in case their phone charged, so they can bring their family. They've got water there. They've got people that they can talk to. They've just set up 3 hubs of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that we need to do that in this day and age, right? But Pete, you've got security clearance. If you fancy a trip to Bournemouth on a Saturday night.
A long way from West London to Bournemouth. I've never been. I used to live in Devon for a while, but apart from that, but it's a great idea. I mean, if you want any sort of features or videos made promoting it, I'm happy to do that and put it on my YouTube.
100%, mate. I wish people just Google it, Safeguard Force Bournemouth, and you'll just see the lot.
I need permissions for footage to take it and then repurpose it to make a video. That's my only concern, but I can have a word. It's fine.
Just direct message them, mate. They're fine. They're the most placid sound blokes in the world. They're fucking brilliant.
Brilliant. Okay, no problem with that one then. Yeah, I might pop down there one day. I've never been to Bournemouth, to be honest, but I have seen the reports, and I know that Mr. Whittle did a documentary featuring the situation, so yeah.
You're talking about the Costa del Sol of England. This is the best place in England. 7 miles of Golden Beach, the Jurassic Coast. It's unbelievable.
I was always taken to Blackpool, Skeg Vegas, that's how life went down that road.
Last time I went to Blackpool, I drove out again.
Yeah, there's even a nudist beach there, Pete. There's even a nudist beach there, right?
I'm there. Yeah. I'm going to unwrap
this. Just over the ferry. Just go for a mile. Get a fig leaf and you'll be all right.
Sweet. I've already got a fig leaf, so I'm halfway there. I'll just leave that to the imagination.
It was a lovely place. Yeah, it was a lovely place to go back in the 80s. There was, just as you come in down from the London Road, just as you hit towards the town centre, the road kind of turned round. There's a little park there, and there was this lovely Italian restaurant that was just slightly raised up from the pavement with a little outside balcony. And I remember driving down from London just there to have a pizza on that corner on a Saturday night and watch the nightlife down there. Down there, it was the bloody 1980s though, right? Okay, so. But it was a lovely town back then, right? Okay. And it's obviously changed a lot. So, yeah.
But we're on our way back. That's the main thing.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks, Gold. You've been a great speaker, and feel free to come back on next week or bring somebody up. Get in touch with us, or if you want to bring somebody else up to talk more about the Safeguard Force as well. We'd love to kind of maybe make that a little bit of a feature next week. I think next week it's going to be Remembrance, isn't it? Pete?
It is indeed, the following Sunday, Remembrance Sunday. Obviously, the actual day falls on the 11th. So it's all next week. It's a big time. I've been wearing my poppy, so hopefully everyone's going to do something, because obviously we know there was a North Yorkshire council, that, cancelled all its plans and won't do a poppy display this year. I can't remember. There was another council that just completely cancelled the parade, citing health and safety. What trend is happening? We'll let that decide for other people. But yeah, we've got to make a big thing of it and keep it going. I've said a few times online, let's just make sure that this year and every year we go out of our way. Because obviously I did 1940s and reenactment and just sang at parades and events and care homes for years. And, the last 10 years, we've lost a little bit of that national pride and looking back at the past. So we need to get that going again, 100%.
Yeah. And in Scotland and Edinburgh, there was the poppy seller. I think he was a veteran himself at the train station. There was 200 pro-Palestine lefties, and Islamists kind of gathered around. I think they tipped the stand over and he had to kind of leave. I think he was punched or something like that. So he was kicked out of the station by these people last year. And, it's just outrageous that people get away with that. No one was even arrested. And I saw the same thing on things happening at Victoria Station in London, similar kind of stuff happening. So I think we need to make a big thing of Remembrance Day, and get more younger people involved in it as well. I think,
Yeah.
It's something I never really, it used to just go by me. But it's something in the last year or two that I kind of think more and more about, and I do try and do something. So maybe Pete, next week you can give us some ideas about what we can do. And, I haven't a clue what to do on Remembrance Day. I guess the services going on and the events and stuff.
There are services, even reenactment groups, depending on the days, will do sort of special services and events, because there is still a very strong 1940s and even, First World War period reenactment group across the country. So there is an event in every town and city. Even if the council don't put it on, people still do things. In London, they will gather at the Cenotaph, massive parades, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I can put something together next week that even for our little point here is a bit of a commemoration and memorial. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. And should we bring up QFS Master, I think, a new speaker here? Should we kind of start winding the space down, guys? I know, Zoe, you wanted to dash somewhere.
It's fine. I was going to go and pick up my daughter, but my husband went. Just a couple of things that I had to just wrap up then. So I've had confirmation that the app is coming. It's still on the table, but it will be coming. So just confirmation on that. I was going to bring up Veterans Remembrance Sunday as well. There was talk that Liverpool had cancelled their Remembrance Sunday. However, Great British National Strike protest, I think it's back to strike now. He actually paid for the insurance, public liability insurance, and got a risk assessment done. So if anybody is in Liverpool, just turn up. Anyway, just do it anyway, because he's got it all covered. It's all on his page if you want to go and have a look. So he's done it for the Wirral, I think, and that covers Liverpool as well. So yeah, that was what I was going to say. And also, if you haven't put your flags up, and I'm guilty, I took my flags down to take to the rally in London, and I haven't put them back up. So I'm going to put them back up. And if anybody's thinking, well, why have they gone up? Well, they've gone up for Remembrance Sunday. So if anybody's kind of a bit cautious about it, put them up for Remembrance Sunday and then just don't take them down again. That's all I wanted to say.
Good point. Yeah. Good point. Okay. Yeah.
Sneaky, I like it.
Okay, we've got a couple of people who've got their hands up. Should we move on to those next?
Yeah.
Pete, do you want to introduce Matt again? And then we get Stella.
No.
Are you sure? I can do another one? No, that's all right. Go on.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief because everyone sounds like they're getting a bit tired. Enough already mentioned the Bible. Best advice I ever got was start with the Gospels. It's basically the highlights, and it's pretty bite-sized. You can read a couple a day. Google the core values and principles. Any religious person I've ever met that's honest is the fact that, we're all varying degrees of trying. None of us get it perfect. We all make blunders. What Gold was going on about, that safeguarding force. sad but fantastic. It shows the hunger for people to actually just get out and start sorting out the things that are going wrong. I think that's a beautiful thing. And it leads into the other thing that I was saying, like, there's a quote from a film that I've always remembered from childhood about every Englishman's home being his castle. The feeling that I get from Advance and Ben is like, the feeling that it brings is Britain is every British citizen's castle, and we've sort of neglected the ground and shut the doors and let everything go to pot a bit. But we're bringing back that sort of hunger to be better in a positive way. And that's the difference with Advance. Like, we're not stuck in the negatives. We're aware that they're there, but what are we going to do about it? As Tony implied, we're not against the other parties. That's what makes us different. We're not combative with them if they're moving in what we think is the right direction. We're not there to split things. If they were doing it, Ben wouldn't be necessary. Like, Ben and Advance are a symptom of the fact that people aren't doing what they're saying they're going to do. And like, congratulations where it's due when they do. Like, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Yeah, there's so much political ground that's unoccupied at the moment that Advance UK is going in the right direction for. Why try and lock horns with other parties who aren't sort of covering that ground? That's my view. One thing I remembered, actually, the very first speaker, I forgot her second point, and she was mentioning Neighbourhood Watch, and I can see on my notes, I write down rethinking Neighbourhood Watch. And Neighbourhood Watch, certainly back in the day, it was normally quite very safe, affluent residential streets, and it would be organised by a couple of local kind of do-gooders, curtain twitchers, and they were probably on the lookout. Certainly, I've got a guy with long hair. I had the police calling me once when I was waiting for a bus that never came. Somebody had obviously thought I looked like I was up to no good because I had long hair. During COVID, I had the police calling me twice for walking across the field near my house because I didn't look like I lived in the area. So that's a kind of old school neighborhood watch, but the safeguard force, although it's quite sad it has to happen, sounds like the new remaking of Neighbourhood Watch. It's had to sort of really beef itself up to deal with current day problems. And it's almost like you kind of wish you could go back to the old Neighbourhood Watch when some bloke that looks like he listens to rock music's wandering around your neighbourhood and you call the police on him. I mean, there were much kind of safer and quieter days kind of back then. But I do think that rethinking Neighbourhood Watch, because it does have a little bit of a negative connotation to it. That's an idea that I've just put down here. If there's a way we can rethink Neighbourhood Watch for a new era, that would be something that could be an interesting topic of conversation. Yeah.
And then finally, before I hand over to Stella, my idea for a film, like, people have given good book and film, ideas, but like, I'm a quintessential Shire folk. I'm also from Wiltshire, same as that Katie girl. It would be a great idea to, like, maybe one weekend just do like a sort of almost watch along where you all start the film at the same time and then like have a little chat every 45, 60, 90 minutes to discuss like the film and like maybe have like a theme and like discuss how the film appealed to those sort of values or whatever and sort of get everyone chatting and see like where have we lost that. Obviously, Lord of the Rings is sort of quintessential English Shire Tolkien work, but something like that to get people talking about what we've lost and how we could potentially bring it back, I think it would be great.
Yeah, so you're putting Lord of the Rings forward, right?
Yeah, sure. It's like
is that
a sort
right,
of watch along discussion thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of always had trouble getting into Lord of the Rings, mainly it's such a big, thick book. Okay. But yeah, on the films, yeah, that's a good thing. I do think the watch along thing is an interesting idea. That would be suitable for some kind of films, just to bring a bit of a kind of interaction in there. It'd be nice to kind of build a community around the book suggestions and film suggestions. So we're at the beginning stages of figuring out what that might look like. So that's a good idea to sort of put in the mix, I think. Yeah. Thanks for that. Zoe, is it Stella next, I think?
Yeah, I think it's just Stella now, and then we can wrap up, yeah?
We can close up unless anybody out there has got a last call and wants to shove their hand up and has got something really important to say. We'll then close the space down and we'll see you guys next Wednesday, 7:00, and bring your friends along, like, share, repost, all that kind of usual stuff, you know.
Oh, and follow each other. Follow each other. We forgot to say that.
Follow each other. Make sure you give me a follow. Make sure you follow Zoe and also the X community space. I know there's people online from there who are replying to all the messages people are leaving in the meeting. And Pete, I noticed you're an agonizing 40 or 400 or something people short of 6,000 people on your YouTube channel.
Noticed that? No, it's not even.
I noticed that.
I'm so close. Like now, actually, without really trying that hard, it's just like-minded people that get together. I'm currently, if I can find it quick, 5,096. I'm only a few off the 6,000.
How many off?
About 4.
4. Guys, we got to do this. Go to Pete's. I was like 400 earlier or something, or 40 earlier.
Was it much? Yeah.
Guy,
Go on.
Because I checked it, because it's one of my notes here to kind of bring up and plug you, because Paul Fort was plugging Epping Sarah's channel. She wasn't going to do any content until she got 2,000 followers, because then she'd be monetized.
Get it up. The
And
more you put up, like I was
plugging up.
monetized in about 10 days originally. And I kept consistent. As long as you're posting, it's not just about views. It's about, likes, shares, and then obviously the subscribers as well as the hours viewing. So
Pete, listen, guys, even if you just cancel your subscription to Pete's channel next week, right? Let's get him over there. I want to get you over 6,000. I want to win at something.
I'm cancelling it
today,
now.
right? You beat me in the introduction kind of game, and you beat me in the speech game, right? Okay, and Zoe's beat me on policy and politics and everything like that, right? So I've got to win at something.
I beat you on the followers as well.
Ooh.
What?
Anyway.
Yeah. So Pete, what's your YouTube handle?
It's Historic Hospitality.
I'm pretty sure I beat you all on the followers.
Yeah.
I looked.
Historic Hospitality.
So, anyway, Lord of the Rings, very first point. Lord of the Rings, yes, Lord of the Rings, because this is not a joke. Lord of the Rings, read the goddamn book. So Tolkien did it in the 1930s about the First World War. And he, moved it into the Second World War and everything else like that. This is about, the hobbits. The hobbits are the normal people in English society standing up. We're the people that stood up, and we are the people that won. Okay, we are the hobbits. We are the working class. The working class is the hobbits. Okay, so Lord of the Rings is about the hobbits winning, if you see what I mean. So, he wanted to expand English folklore because it was taken over by Anglo-Saxon stuff, and and he wanted to expand. He's an Oxford professor, and he wanted to expand English folklore for the English specifically, which is why he spoke about the Shires. He wanted to write about the English Shires, and we are the hobbits. We are the goddamn hobbits. So yeah, read Lord of the Rings, because it's the hobbits that win. Anyway.
Right, I'm not going to read Lord of the Rings, but I'm going to try and find an audio version, because I just don't have the ability to read
do
audio version.
However it works for you, because it's a brilliant trilogy. It's like, it's what everything else is based upon. From Lord of the Rings, he did it in 1930s to 1940s. All the elves and everything else from that moment on, all the mythology, it goes back to the Lord of the Rings. So it was a seminal piece. Anyway, it's perfect, and I love it. It's one of my favourite books of all time.
So
please read Lord of the Rings.
We got some real heavyweight suggestions here. Then Lord of the Rings, 1984.
It's
The
not,
Prisoner,
and Lord of the Rings, 1984. Obviously, Animal Farm and everything else, because he got it too. Anyway, I'm going to go back to what I was originally trying to discuss. So I'm an army brat. I've had 14 schools. I've moved all over the place, and including Germany. Ben talked about how he grew up away from the UK, but he understood, the UK, because, he was like, his historic stuff, it was like his father was diplomat or whatever, and he went to rugby, wasn't it? And, he felt strongly about I mean, he's my age, by the way. I'm exactly the same age as Ben. So, he talked about growing up with, seeing those books where, you know, we won the war because, you know, over the Jerry, we won the war because we were like, you know, we did this and everything else. Like, and I read those goddamn books, and my dad was in the army, and, you know, we were the ones that stood strong for the whole of bloody Europe against the fascists and against the Jew haters, and you know, saved Europe. We did.
Well, we did it twice, didn't we?
Look,
The First World War and the Second
the
World War.
Americans wouldn't have come in. There's not a chance the Americans would have come in to back us. We held on for so bloody long, the Americans didn't have a choice, because the Japanese had already attacked them. They didn't have a choice but to come in. I'm not saying they weren't bloody instrumental, because they were, because we were on our bloody knees at that point. But we held that bloody line. We held that line. There was a line and we held it. Time the British stood up. I absolutely believe that Ben is the man to do it.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that we're in our Biden years, and then obviously at some point in the future we're going to have a new beginning, a new dawn, and like America's currently kind of going through. I think that's a very poignant message you've given there to kind of end the space.
But thank you again for everybody's contributions. It's been a really lovely space, and such a difference from last night. Thank you.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I'll leave those groups alone. Yep, just reiterating the point. Thank you to everyone that has joined us in and out and obviously contributed, because it doesn't take place without the people coming together and making their voices known. And if anyone isn't confident with public speaking, don't think of this as a speech. Think of this as a space for friends to have a conversation. It doesn't all have to be political. It's nice if it's broken up with theories, thoughts, wishes and wants. And yep, I am now up to 967, so I'm 3 short on the YouTube. I believe Dottie there did post the link to some random porn site, so I put the correct one on there. It's Historic Hospitality. You'll see a picture of me in a World War II RAF uniform behind a British flag. So I look forward to seeing everyone in the coming episode next week. Do share the link to this, and if you do want to share it as well, we got the replay that will come up, and if somebody like me likes a video and watches it randomly, there'll be a new format and a video up on the YouTube to share as well. So take care. Thank you very much.
On night patrol, oh, so much progress, so little to